Chapter 29-22. Imperial Light, do you think I didn't try? I went to find them before. They know everything outside the city like the back of their hands. Seeing that Qin Yun is safe inside the pagoda, they said that they won't open the entrance. Granny Taiyue shook her head. Qin Yun also shouted at this time. Elder, don't go, I am just passing by. I will rest for 2 days and then leave. Where do you think you are going? Do you think this is divine desolate? Do you see those beastmen outside? They are 4th or 5th level divine universe realm. They can kill you with just a finger. You are an important outer sect disciple of Imperial Heaven sect. Why did the sect master let you into Nine Sun Holy Land? Imperial Light anxiously shouted. Imperial Light is very anxious. Qin Yun is very important to them. Elder, don't look down on me. I am still a divine king of divine desolate. Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. We are not looking down on you, we value you. Imperial Light felt very tired. Qin Yun is so outstanding, but he always courted death. Granny Taiyue said, Qin Yun, just obediently stay inside the pagoda, we will leave in a few days, you just need to follow us at that time. Yushang Yun did not say anything. Of course she is worried about Qin Yun, but seeing how relaxed he is, she knows that he is really safe. Here, the person who understands Qin Yun the most is her. Qin Yun will not do anything he is not sure of. She also believes that Qin Yun did not come to this treasure land to find her and Imperial Devil Yao. He just came to take a look. Qin Yun is a divine king. Nine Sun Holy Land and Myriad Realms Divine Sun have a very close relationship. She immediately thought that Qin Yun must have received some kind of guidance to come here. Moreover, it is very important. Qin Yun is also idle now, so he took out 2 very long Divine Universe Heavenly Bones. Divine Universe Heavenly Bones are golden and bright, very easy to recognize. Imperial Light and Granny Taiyue are very familiar with this material. They saw Qin Yun standing inside the door with 2 thick Divine Universe Heavenly Bones in his hands. They suddenly looked over. Do you see? These are Divine Universe Heavenly Bones. I got them on the road, Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. You? How did you get them? Beastmen with Divine Universe Heavenly Bones are very strong. And it looks so good. Royal Light's old eyes were glowing. To him, this was a good thing. You can defeat the beastmen who possess the Divine Universe Heavenly Bone? Granny Taiyue seemed to have received a great shock. Many of the heaven-splitting clans, middle-aged and old men in the city exclaimed. Some of them were so jealous that their expressions changed. Qin Yun laughed loudly and said, Of course it wasn't me, it was Myriad Realms Divine Sun. With that said, he took out his godly king heavenly seal and said with a smile, I already said, don't forget that I am a godly king, recognized by the Myriad Realms Divine Sun and protected by it. Is God King really that strong? Granny Taiyue was very doubtful. To her, the Celestial King was just like a mascot. She had seen the Great Divine Lord before, and she felt that she could turn the Great Divine Lord into ashes with a single slap. A Divine King is not strong, but the power protecting a Divine King is very strong. Qin Yun said with mischievous smile. Wait until nighttime, you will know. The Myriad Realms Divine Sun's power is stronger during the day. Why do you only know at night? Yu Ming asked. Uncle Qin, could it be that you can exterminate those beastmen? Ever since he was tricked by Qin Yun, Yu Ming firmly believed that Qin Yun was an old fox, someone from his grandfather's generation. Because my pagoda gathers power during the day, it gathers power for a whole day. At night time, it releases the power it gathers during the day and exterminates the surrounding beastmen, Qin Yun said with smile. Yu Yaoyao already believed him. With her understanding of Qin Yun always does things that other people think are impossible, so she no longer doubted him. Don't brag, look, more and more beastmen are coming for the Divine Universe Heavenly Bone in your hand. Yu Xingyu shouted. The more the better, the more the better, maybe we can meet someone who has the divine universe heavenly bone, Qin Yun said with smile. Uncle Yu, if I can exterminate those beastmen outside, will you do a handstand and eat dumb? Yu Yaoyao immediately pulled her father and gave him a meaningful look, telling him not to agree, otherwise he will be cheated. She made a bet with Qin Yun before and lost in the end. She had to do something shameful, so she could only act shamelessly. What made Qin Yun pleasantly surprised is that after he took out the divine universe heavenly bone, more and more beastmen appeared. As long as it is nighttime, he can summon a group of human ghosts. There are already 1,000, this is great. Qin Yun held the divine mirror of ancient beginning. He is very happy. The 5 old men in the city also came to Granny Taiyue's side and looked at the beastmen surrounding the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. With such a large number of beastmen, there must be many powerful leaders among them. If they can really kill them, maybe the divine universe heavenly bone will drop. This is the Qin Yun you were talking about? One of the old men frowned. The quality of the divine universe heavenly bone in his hand is not bad. Did he really get it himself? I don't know. Granny Taiyue shook her head. Qin Yun is a strange person. I got some inside information from the Yu ancient clan. It is said that he is already half a disciple of Shao Qihong. Yu Guang quickly said, "There is no such thing. Senior Shao only met Qin Yun and did not say that he wants to take him as a disciple. It is just a normal inheritance. Qin Yun still has not mastered the Yu clan heavenly talisman. But no matter what, Shao Qihong has not spread the 1-star Yu clan heavenly talisman for many years. It means that he thinks highly of Qin Yun." Granny Taiyue said. "Granny Taiyue, where did you get this information from?" Yu Guang dryly laughed. "This should be a secret." Yu Yuan said it, "He even showed off to me." Granny Taiyue smiled and said, "I didn't mean to pry." Yu Guang cursed this sect master a few times in his heart. Before, Yu Yuan said that he wanted to keep it a secret. He didn't expect that Yu Yuan would say it first and then go around bragging. The 5 old men are also very surprised because even they have some respect for Shao Qihong. Someone that Shao Qihong has taken a fancy to must have something special about him. Time slowly passed and night fell. There are already several thousand beastmen. They were all attracted by the divine universe heavenly bone in Qin Yun's hand. If Qin Yun knew that the divine universe heavenly bone has this kind of miraculous effect, he would have taken it out earlier. That way, the human ghost group would have been able to kill even more beastmen. The sky has turned completely dark. Qin Yun controlled the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda to float in the air and release intense light. During the day, many beastmen attacked the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda, but they were not able to break it. The beastmen all know that the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda has the power of the myriad world's divine suns, so they believe that as long as night falls, they can break it. Qin Yun controlled the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda to float in the air and then suddenly smashed it on the ground. He repeatedly smashed it on the ground 7 times, creating ripples. This is the signal method that he and the human ghost emperor agreed on. Chapter 29-23. The human ghost emperor could feel the 9 suns heaven-raising pagoda crashing into the ground and the fluctuations it emitted. Then, he immediately led the human ghost horde out of the ground. After coming out, the human ghost horde was in a frenzy and immediately rushed towards the 9 suns heaven-raising pagoda like a raging wave. The human ghost emperor did not expect to encounter so many beastmen the moment he came out. If he could devour these beastmen, it would be enough for him to cultivate for a long time. The human ghost emperor was very grateful to Qin Yun, so he ordered his subordinates to pay attention to the divine universe heavenly bone. If there was one, they had to pay more attention. When the people inside the small city saw that the sky had darkened, they all wanted to see how Qin Yun was going to exterminate the beastmen. They didn't have to wait long before they saw a very strange scene. There were originally several thousand beastmen near the Nine Suns heaven-raising pagoda, but they suddenly roared in panic and fled in all directions. Then, the bodies of the outer universe beastmen suddenly disappeared one after another, as if they had turned into fine dust and suddenly dispersed. The people inside the barrier could not sense any energy outside, so they could not be sure if it was the power released by the Nine Suns heaven-raising pagoda. The beastmen disappeared one after another, and in just a few blinks of an eye, they were all gone. Qin Yun had already reached the top of the pagoda. Only he could see the white fog all around him. The human ghost horde was excitedly swallowing the white fog. After he closed his heavenly eye, he could not see the human ghost horde, but he could see some golden things on the trampled grassland. Those were divine universe heavenly bones, but they were very small pieces. Qin Yun immediately jumped down from the top of the pagoda and picked up those golden bones. The people inside the small city's barrier were still in shock and could not react. They could not understand how so many outer universe beastmen could be killed so thoroughly in such a short time. They originally thought that the beastmen had suddenly disappeared and were teleported away using spatial power. But when they saw Qin Yun pick up those broken bones, they were sure that the bodies of the beastmen had been destroyed, leaving only the divine universe heavenly bones. Qin Yun deliberately took out a transparent crystal box and picked up those tiny divine universe heavenly bones and placed them inside. Why are these divine universe heavenly bones so small? As Qin Yun picked them up, he deliberately lifted them up and carefully examined them. The bones were all finger bones, and they were very small. It could be seen that the beastmen from the outer universe could indeed cultivate the divine universe heavenly bone very early on. The elders of the heaven-splitting ancient clan looked on enviously. Qin Yun had already picked up over 10 pieces of divine universe heavenly bones. Although they were small, their value was considerable. Moreover, divine universe heavenly bones were relatively rare. Qin Yun picked up dozens of broken bones, one after another, and said with a chuckle, "At least 10 genes." Back when Imperial Yuan killed the group of outer universe beastmen, he gave Qin Yun a small piece that weighed about 5 kilograms. The leg bone that he had obtained first was the heaviest, weighing at least 15 kilograms. Like this, he now had 60 genes of heavenly divine universe bone. According to the price of 1 billion per genes, this was worth 60 billion. Of course, this was only an estimate. Because divine universe heavenly bones were extremely rare, the price wasn't fixed. I have a total of 30 gene of divine universe heavenly bone. This trip's harvest is truly not small. Qin Yun said with smile. What did you do just now? An old man came back to his senses and asked in shock. Nothing much, I just controlled my 9 Suns heaven-raising pagoda to release the energy stored during the day. Qin Yun waved his hand and put away the 9 Suns heaven-raising pagoda. He looked at Imperial Light and said with a smile, "Elder, I still have something to do, so I'll be leaving first. I can take care of myself." Imperial Light was very worried about Qin Yun before, but after seeing Qin Yun kill a large number of outer universe beastmen, he was quite frightened. Qin Yun took out the divine mirror of primordial beginning and looked at the location of the divine ruin. He had to go around this small city to get there. He glanced at Yu Shangyun and saw her nod her head. Then, he flew close to the ground and left. Although he didn't say anything to Yu Shangyun, the two of them had a tacit understanding. Seeing that the other was fine, they could rest assured. Qin Yun left with the group of human ghosts. He didn't know how long the group of human ghosts would follow him. It was impossible for them to follow him forever, so he was pondering how to make them help him build his own secret base in the 9 Suns Holy Land. This treasure land is a good place. Whether it is the heaven-opening ancient race or the outer universe beastmen, they can find this place. It means that there are many good things hidden in this treasure land. After Granny Taiyue saw Qin Yun leave, she took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "What did Qin Yun do just now? Is that really the power of the myriad realms' divine sun? How come there are no fluctuations at all? There is no energy aura. Didn't they say that the divine kings of divine desolate are just for show and have an undeserved reputation? Why are they so scary? An old man said. He has always been in the Nine Suns' holy land and never went out. However, he knows that there are divine kings in divine desolate. That's just what you think. Imperial Light chuckled and said, Qin Yun refined 108 divine universe golden tendons very early on. Maybe he has already strengthened more than half of them. Yu Ming already knew that Qin Yun is not simple. If Qin Yun had used his equipment during the exchange battle, they would not have been Qin Yun's match. Yu Yaoyao said, The divine kings of divine desolate are supported by the myriad realms' divine sun for many years. How can they be weak? So, don't look down on Qin Yun. This guy is very strong. If we had known earlier, we would have let him in and had a discussion with him. An old man said regretfully. Even if you invited him in, he would not come in. This guy is here for the divine universe heavenly bones. Didn't you see how many divine universe heavenly bones he obtained just now? Granny Taiyue sighed. She is also somewhat envious of Qin Yun for obtaining so many divine universe heavenly bones. Qin Yun flew very fast while staying close to the ground. He did not consider hiding his aura at all. With the human ghost group following him, he can move without fear. It would be even better if he could attract the extraterrestrial beastmen, then the human ghost group would have a full meal. This divine site is very big. After Qin Yun circled around the small city, he thought that he would be able to reach the divine site very quickly. However, after flying for most of the night, he still did not arrive. On the way, he encountered several waves of extraterrestrial beastmen, but they were all killed by the human ghost group. After one night, Qin Yun obtained another 1 gene of divine universe heavenly bones. It was daytime, so Qin Yun could only go deep underground. In the depths of the divine site, the extraterrestrial beastmen were becoming stronger and stronger. Qin Yun did not dare to randomly walk in broad daylight. He was worried that he would encounter the extraterrestrial beastmen underground and he would not be able to defeat them. He did not hurry during the day and left at night. Qin Yun rested deep underground. He did not know what harvest he would obtain from the divine site. Even if he did not obtain anything, the divine universe heavenly bones he obtained on the way would not have been in vain. Chapter 29-24. At night, Qin Yun came out from underground. He only dared to run around in the Nine Suns sacred ground with a group of ghouls following him. Otherwise, he would have to tread carefully. Qin Yun had been pondering over the existence of the human ghost horde. Was it related to the 9 Yang Dharma spirit? And why was it that only he could see it with his heavenly eye? Of course, his heaven eye was no longer the heaven eye that he had just obtained. His heavenly eye had undergone many evolutions, and it was influenced by his saintly heavenly Tao images to become even stronger. He suspected that the reason why he could see human ghosts was related to his cultivation of the imperial divine technique. After entering deeper into the miraculous paradise, Qin Yun walked and stopped from time to time. He used the divine mirror of Grand beginning to probe the ground beneath his feet to see if there were any divine universe goldstone ores. If he could find it, even if he couldn't dig it out, he could sell it to the Imperial Sky Sect or the ancient Yu clan. Qin Yun currently does not have the ability to mine on a large scale because it requires a very large faction. He had originally planned to visit the heaven-splitting ancient clan's mine when he entered the Nine Suns sacred ground this time to see how it operated so that he could gain some experience when mining for himself in the future. However, he didn't come into contact with it, only encountering that small city. He still couldn't enter. That small city should have been jointly built by the heaven-splitting ancient clans. It was a safe city in this treasured land. After building the safe city, A large number of heaven-splitting ancient clans experts and youths would gather. Next, they would explore for resources and then excavate. That was why the safe city was very tightly guarded. This treasure land must have a lot of resources. Qin Yun opened his heavenly eye and looked all around. In the past, he had been able to tell where there were ores and see people's fortunes through his heaven eyes. As the divine desolate of the heavens grew stronger, the power of the 9-yang Dharma spirit also grew stronger. Therefore, Qin Yun was currently unable to see through the luck of others. Unless his strength increased, he would be able to use the imperial heaven divine art to see and predict the future luck of others. If they wanted to find a mine, they would need experienced people to be able to explore it. The range that Qin Yun's divine mirror of primordial beginning could sense was limited. Unless Qin Yun ran through the entire treasure land, it would take time. If we can find a fully formed divine universe goldstone, then it will be easy to take it away. Taisher said. Brother Taisher, I want to, but that depends on luck. Qin Yun plans to find Yu Yuan and ask if there is anyone who is an expert in this field so that he can learn from them. Right now, he was not thinking about finding a big mine. Instead, he was thinking about how to make the group of human ghosts stay here, or how to establish a relationship with the group of human ghosts, and how to cooperate with them in the future. While hiding underground during the day, Qin Yun had asked the human ghost emperor. They did not idle around all day. Sometimes they would collectively cultivate for long periods of time. The process was like sleeping. When they woke up, they would inexplicably be scattered all over the place. It would take them some time to gather again before they could start foraging for food. Qin Yun also knew that it would not be easy to meet the human ghost emperor again after separating. Late at night, the multicolored light of the divine moon in the heavens was very gentle, scattering over the flowers and grass plains of the precious land. Qin Yun flew close to the flower plains and encountered fewer and fewer outer universe beastmen. This made Qin Yun feel that something was amiss, and he became even more vigilant. Logically speaking, there should be more and more powerful alien beasts in the deeper regions of the treasure ground. But now, he did not encounter any. This means that he has most likely entered the territory of a group of powerful alien creatures. Outer universe beastmen did not dare to enter this territory, so Qin Yun did not encounter them. When the sky was about to brighten, Qin Yun immediately went underground and did not stay on the surface for long. Intuition told him that this area is very dangerous. He must be very careful. Only after the day passed did Qin Yun dare to come to the surface. When he was underground, he communicated with the human ghost emperor. He told the human ghost emperor that he might encounter very powerful outer universe beastmen. At night, Qin Yun followed the guidance of the divine mirror of primordial beginning and continued on his journey. Late at night, the divine mirror of primordial beginning suddenly trembled violently. Qin Yun immediately released the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. He can sense that something very powerful is approaching. Not long after he entered the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda, a loud boom sound echoed and the entire pagoda was sent flying several hundred meters. Qin Yun, who is inside the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda, constantly drew out divine sun power from the 9-sun divine spirit and poured it into the pagoda to maintain the pagoda's defense. It is currently nighttime. The 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda can only absorb limited energy, so its defense is not the strongest. What Qin Yun did not expect is that there are actually creatures from the outer universe that can pass through layers upon layers of human ghost group and directly attack the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. Qin Yun is inside the pagoda, concentrating his mind to look ahead. He saw a few people within the human ghost group. Their bodies are releasing intense light wave. Are these humans from the outer universe? Qin Yun's heart immediately jumped. He encountered humans from the outer universe. Their strength is beyond his imagination. They are actually able to resist the attack of the human ghost group. From their appearance, those humans from the outer universe are no different from the humans from Divine Desolate. Old Brother Taisher, I saw humans from the outer universe. They seem to be fighting against the human ghost group. Qin Yun reported his discovery to Taisher. Have the human ghost group been injured? Taisher asked. Not really, the humans from the outer universe are having a hard time resisting the attack of the human ghost group. They are releasing white light waves and are pushing the human ghost group away bit by bit. Qin Yun opened his heavenly eye and said, Then you have to look for an opportunity to run away. That divine ruin is very likely to be occupied. You have to wait until daytime to see if the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda will be sent flying or not. Taisher also realized that the humans from the outer universe are very strong. They are not something that the human ghost group can resist. It is very easy for the human ghost group to exterminate the beastmen from the outer universe, but it is very difficult for them to exterminate the humans from the outer universe. This is the first time they have encountered this kind of situation. Naturally, the humans from the outer universe are also not having an easy time. They released white light waves for a while, pushed the human ghost group back a certain distance, and then quickly retreated. The human ghost group did not pursue. They are very shocked at this moment. There are actually creatures from the outer universe that they cannot exterminate. Ghost Emperor immediately flew over to Qin Yun and asked him what is going on. Qin Yun told them that those are beastmen from the outer universe. They are very strong and their numbers are the least among the creatures from the outer universe. Human Ghost Emperor, hide underground and wait for my signal to come out, Qin Yun said. The group of human ghost group immediately went underground. Qin Yun doesn't dare to come out of the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. He controlled the pagoda to go underground and wait for daytime to come out. The location of the divine ruin shouldn't be far. After daybreak, I will control the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda and slowly fly there. Qin Yun has already arrived here. He doesn't want to go back just like this. The divine sun cultivation method inside the divine ruin is very important to him. He must obtain it. Daybreak arrived. Qin Yun controlled the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda to drill out of the ground. After flying for less than half an hour, more than 10 humans from the outer universe rushed over and surrounded the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda. Chapter 29-25. During the day, the 9-sun sky-raising pagoda could absorb more myriad realms divine sun energy and form a shield around the pagoda. The shield was now very thick and glowed with a golden radiance. It was much stronger than when he was surrounded by the beastmen. Qin Yun had previously suspected that the myriad realms divine sun was aware of the danger he was facing. That was why it strengthened its defenses according to the danger. This time, Qin Yun can see even more outer universe humans. These outer universe humans have many patterns drawn on their faces. They deliberately made their faces look very strange. Their clothes are made of beast skin. With a single glance, one could tell that the beast skins were the skins of extraterrestrial beasts. It was clear that extraterrestrial creatures would also attack each other. In Qin Yun's eyes, these humans were like savages, but they were very strong. The human who attacked the 9-sun sky-raising pagoda before sent it flying with one punch. At this moment, the dozen or so humans rushed towards the 9-sun sky-raising pagoda at the same time and crazily attacked its powerful shield. The power of the humans from the outer universe was indeed very terrifying. Not only was their divine cosmic energy very high, their bodies were also very strong. Qin Yun used the divine mirror of primordial beginning to probe. Every time these humans attacked the 9-sun sky-raising pagoda, they used around 20 to 30,000 divine cosmic energy. If this was the result of multiple attacks, then it could be inferred that the upper limit of their divine cosmic energy was at least 10,000. This kind of cultivation was equivalent to the early stage of the 6th level of the divine cosmic realm. I can't beat them, I can't beat them. Even if they use up all their divine cosmic energy, I still can't break their powerful bodies. Qin Yun gave up on the idea of fighting. He had wanted to try and see if he could kill these humans after exhausting their divine cosmic energy. But now it seemed that he had no chance at all. The humans from the outer universe were too strong. From the way these people are dressed, they should be lowly humans from the outer universe. But even so, I'm no match for them. Qin Yun sighed. After attacking for a while, the humans realized that they couldn't break the 9-sun sky-raising pagoda, so they stopped attacking. They knew that they couldn't break it. Moreover, they looked at the myriad realms' divine sun in the sky and spoke in a language that Qin Yun couldn't understand. It seemed that the defensive power of the 9-sun sky-raising pagoda came from the myriad realms' divine Sunday. The dozen or so aliens discussed for a while before retreating. Their speed was extremely fast, and they soon disappeared. Qin Yun immediately controlled the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda to float in the air and fly forward. In order to increase its flying speed, he stood at the door and made the door turn to the back. Then he blasted out a gust of strong wind, pushing the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda forward. The miracle is just ahead. Whether or not you can obtain the divine yang cultivation technique will depend on your luck. Taisher said, "You will face great danger when you enter the territory of outer space humans. You must be careful." Grand Prime is warning Qin Yun that the 9 Suns heaven-raising pagoda's defense is not invincible. If it faces a very powerful alien human, it can still be breached. I know. Qin Yun took a deep breath. The pressure on him is not small. After the dozen or so outer universe humans retreated, they must have gone back to report the situation here. In that case, it was highly likely that Qin Yun would encounter even stronger extraterrestrials. With his current cultivation, he was only able to come here because of external help. He himself did not have enough strength to fight against the strong enemies here. As the 9-sun heaven-raising pagoda continued to fly forward, Qin Yun gradually sensed a strange energy penetrating through the pagoda's protective wall. At noon, he came to the window and looked ahead. He saw that the lawn over there is being enveloped by a burst of golden light. From the outside, it can be seen that the golden light is like a golden starry sky. Within the golden sea of light, there are many large and small stars emitting intense light. Upon closer inspection, one can see that those stars are actually huge divine suns. Each of them has a different color. What shocked Qin Yun is that there are many big and small divine suns. It is as if there are countless divine suns. Each divine sun is connected to each other and there is a kind of power guiding each other. Qin Yun immediately used the divine mirror of primordial beginning to illuminate the area in front of him. Divine sun cultivation technique. Moreover, it is a new divine sun cultivation technique. This universe's divine sun operates according to the law of this law. One can constantly become stronger, Taisher said, but in essence they are still mutually devouring each other. However, this kind of devouring is not forced. Instead, after many divine suns recognize each other, they are willing to fuse with each other. Then how can I master this divine sun cultivation technique? Qin Yun asked. This is a very complicated array. If you can master it, you can use this array to obtain energy from all the divine suns in the universe and use it to cultivate the divine sun within your 9-sun divine spirit. Taisher said, this array is too complicated. It's impossible to record it. Can't record it? Old brother Taisher, you can't record it either? Qin Yun is startled. This array is right here. What you need to do is to collect this array. Taisher said, even if I can record it, it will take a very long time. Qin Yun doesn't have much time. If powerful outer universe humans come, even if he can block them during the day, he definitely won't be able to block them at night. Let the fairy Imo come out, Taisher suddenly said. She is the spirit of the inscription and can communicate with inscription. The array that appeared in front of us can also be considered a type of inscription. Qin Yun immediately let Emo come out. When the cute little fairy came out and saw the array in front of her, she immediately opened her eyes wide and exclaimed, "Big brother, this rune is so big. It's very big. Little Emo, do you have a way to communicate with this rune?" Qin Yun asked. "I'll give it a try." Emo closed her eyes and sent her consciousness outside the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda. Not long after, the golden light outside began to move. It is as if it is slowly rotating and then converged into a whirlpool. Suddenly, a gale rose, causing the entire nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda to tremble. Boom! The thick barrier around the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda was directly torn apart. The large amount of golden light quickly condensed into small light dots and shot towards the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda. In a short while, they pierced through the outer wall of the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda. Emo opened her small mouth and ate the rice grain-sized golden light dot. Then, her entire body began to emit golden light. Emo, what's wrong with you? Are you all right? Qin Yun is very shocked and shouted loudly. The rice grain-sized light dot is very terrifying. It can easily pierce through the outer wall of the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda. Now, it has entered Emo's body, causing Qin Yun's face to turn deathly pale. "Big brother, I'm fine. I'm just a little uncomfortable. I want to rest well." Emo stood on Qin Yun's palm. Her small eyebrows are slightly knitted and her pretty and cute little face is puffed up. "It's good that you're fine." Qin Yun immediately let Emo return to the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda. He saw a miracle, and the divine sun cultivation technique was also obtained by Emo. The purpose of this trip has been achieved. Chapter 29-26. After Qin Yun placed Emo inside the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda, a headache came. Around the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda, there are hundreds of outer universe humans. Some are wearing beast skins, some are wearing beast armors. Not good. Qin Yun's expression suddenly changed. Bang! A trembling sound echoed. A human suddenly rushed over and punched the outer wall of the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda. Qin Yun's heavenly eye avatar saw a crack appear on the third floor of the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda. Trouble! Qin Yun immediately took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal, wanting to condense Myriad Realms' Divine Sun's divine power again. However, he did not succeed. Could it be that because I have mastered the Divine Sun cultivation technique, the Myriad Realms' Divine Sun no longer protects me? How can this be? I am in great danger now. Qin Yun is burning with anxiety. At the same time, the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda was attacked again. Several cracks have already appeared on it. Go out and store the nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda, then hide yourself, drill into the ground and use the mysterious penetration divine ability to escape. Taisher hastily gave Qin Yun an idea. Qin Yun suddenly jumped out from the top of the pagoda. The nine-sun heaven-raising pagoda also turned into a beam of light and was stored by him. A large group of savage outer universe humans suddenly jumped up and rushed into the sky. Qin Yun immediately hid himself and quickly landed on the ground. At the same time, he used the mysterious penetration divine ability, allowing his body to easily pass through the soil and enter deep underground. Although the outer universe humans are very powerful, if they want to enter deep underground, they can only use great power to blast open the soil. However, Qin Yun is now quickly moving underground, heading towards the area where the human ghost group is located. It must be said that this Earth escape technique is very smooth, that's why it went so smoothly. The outer universe humans don't seem to have mastered this kind of mystical technique. They also know that Qin Yun has drilled into the ground, so they quickly blasted a super big hole in the ground. They burst out with very powerful divine universe power, causing the surrounding aura to become very chaotic, thus covering up the weak aura left behind by Qin Yun. Qin Yun's aura concealment is very good, but there are still traces left behind. Powerful people can still track him. After he went to the bottom floor where the human ghosts were, he felt much more at ease. As long as he waited until nightfall, he would be able to leave with the human ghosts and return to that small city. The 9 Suns sky-raising pagoda had suffered considerable damage, and he could not use the power of the myriad realms' divine suns. He did not dare to be reckless anymore. When he was outside the city, he was in the limelight. Now that he couldn't use the 9 Suns sky-raising pagoda, he wasn't afraid of being laughed at. After all, safety was the most important thing. At night, Qin Yun finally dared to run out from underground. He thought about it carefully and realized that he was really like the Rat King. He hid underground during the day and only dared to come out at night. Just like that, he led the group of human ghosts and rushed through the night back to the small city. The ghouls had been with Qin Yun for the past few days and had never felt so satisfied. The human ghostly emperor indicated to Qin Yun that they were about to enter a slumbering cultivation state. It was unknown when they would meet again. The human ghostly emperor and the entire group of ghouls were somewhat reluctant to part. Qin Yun was also very reluctant to do so. Due to the protection of the ghouls, he was nearly invincible at night as long as he did not encounter humans from the outer universe. The human ghost emperor told Qin Yun that they had to understand the meaning of their existence. They hoped that they would be able to find Qin Yun in the future and work together again. After traveling carefully for 3 days, Qin Yun finally arrived at the entrance of the small city at night. The group of ghouls did not leave. They wanted to see him enter the small city before leaving. Many of the beasts from the outer universe in the vicinity had been killed. They did not encounter any more on their way back. Seeing Qin Yun appear again, the middle-aged men and old men guarding the gate became very excited. They looked at Qin Yun with respect in their eyes. "Seniors, I have important information. I discovered humans from the outer universe," Qin Yun said with a solemn expression. "All right, we will immediately go and find those 5 old men." Just as the old man finished speaking, the 5 old men suddenly flew over. Their speed was very fast. It is clear that they have been paying attention to the situation around the small city. These 5 old men were not as reluctant as last time. They immediately took out tools to open the entrance. These tools have a large number of divine universe golden stones inside. They require a large amount of energy to open the entrance. No wonder they did not open the entrance when they saw that Qin Yun was safe. After Qin Yun entered, he very politely greeted the 5 old men in his heart. Then he turned his head and looked at the group of human ghosts behind him. They all waved goodbye to him and then gradually walked away. "You encountered humans from the outer universe? We explored the vicinity before and did not find any humans from the outer universe. But we know that there are humans from the outer universe. They must be hiding," a rather robust old man hastily asked. Qin Yun took out the divine mirror of ancient beginning and projected the image of the humans attacking the 9 Sun heaven-raising pagoda. Including the time when hundreds of humans besieged the 9 Sun heaven-raising pagoda. But it was very short, because after Qin Yun rushed out of the 9 Sun heaven-raising pagoda, he immediately drilled into the ground. After seeing the group of humans from the outer universe, the 5 old men's expression became grave. "My pagoda could not defend against them. These guys are very strong," Qin Yun said. "You did not have the pagoda's defense. How did you run away?" A gray-clothed old man asked Qin Yun in great astonishment. "I used my escape technique to drill into the ground and then quickly ran away. Moreover, the energy aura was very chaotic at that time, so they could not sense me." Qin Yun smiled and said, "Seniors, to tell you the truth, I am still very weak. I was only proficient in some small techniques, so I was lucky enough to escape." None of the people present felt that it was a small technique. If one did not have enough ability, It would be impossible for someone at the second layer of the divine space realm to escape from the encirclement of hundreds of humans from the outer universe. They immediately realized that even if this divine king did not have the protection of the myriad realms' divine son, his own ability was still very strong. These humans from the outer universe are just small fries, but their strength is comparable to our heaven-opening clan's 5th or 6th layer divine space realm elites. An old man said very solemnly, "These small fries are in this treasure land. It means that they have already discovered the treasure land. Not long after, the regular army will arrive." Qin Yun's brows twitched. He is astonished. He knew that the humans from the outer universe he encountered were at the bottom, but he did not expect them to be small fries. How strong would the regular army be? Can the defense of this small city hold? Qin Yun asked with a frown. It can, but most of the resources in the treasure land will definitely be taken away by them. We are not afraid of the beastmen from the outer universe, but we are afraid of the humans from the outer universe. The humans from the outer universe are the same as us. They are proficient in strategy and are very strong. The old man said, "This divine ruin treasure land must be very rich in resources." So the heaven-opening clan joined hands to build this small city and develop the resources here together. Qin Yun previously wanted to control a small mine here, but now it seems that he simply did not have the strength to resist the humans from the outer universe. Chapter 29-27. The humans from the outer universe were ridiculously powerful. Even at the same cultivation level, they were definitely stronger than the heaven-opening race. "Senior, do the humans from the outer universe cultivate a lot of divine universe heavenly bones?" Qin Yun asked. His 9-sun sky-raising pagoda had been cracked. Even with the protection of the myriad realms' divine sons, it would be destroyed sooner or later if it was attacked in succession. The humans from the outer universe are born with divine universe golden tendons, so they can strengthen them very quickly. Naturally, it's also very easy to cultivate divine universe heavenly bones. However, this is all based on the fact that they have a lot of divine universe goldstones, the robust old man said. Then how do they do it? The heaven-opening race obtained a lot of divine universe goldstones from the 9 suns' sacred ground, right? Can you learn anything from the cultivation of the humans from the outer universe? After seeing the strength of the humans from the outer universe, Qin Yun suddenly felt that it was really not easy for the heaven-opening race to survive in the outerverse, reproduce so many descendants, and finally return. After eating the divine universe goldstones, they can quickly transform them into energy and then quickly cultivate. This is their innate ability. Fortunately, there aren't many humans from the outer universe. Each tribe's population is controlled to less than 1,000, around 800 or 900. The old man said. Qin Yun had heard before that the creatures from the outer universe could directly devour the divine universe goldstones. He didn't expect that the humans from the outer universe had relied on this method to become so strong. This was indeed their innate ability that couldn't be learned. Are they worried that there won't be enough divine universe goldstones to eat? Qin Yun asked. The humans from the outer universe were quite savage. Yes, the outerverse is lacking in resources. The main reason is that the humans from the outer universe have consumed too much over the years. In short, our universe is a very resource-rich land for them. The old man let out a long sigh. Currently, only a small portion of the humans from the outer universe know about this passage. Most of the humans from the outer universe are fighting over rare resources. Once they know about the situation here, they will definitely come. Qin Yun now understood how much pressure the heaven-opening race was under. If the humans from the outer universe came here, even if they were only sealed in the 9 suns' sacred ground, they would definitely become stronger after eating all the divine universe goldstones here. At that time, they would break through the seal of the 9 suns' sacred ground and sweep through the divine desolate heavens. Finally, they would spread throughout the entire universe. Qin Yun thought of the human ghoul horde. When this group of strange creatures matured, they might be able to restrain the humans of the outer universe. At the very least, they would be able to put up a fight. When Grandma Taiyue heard that Qin Yun had arrived, she immediately rushed over. Yu Shangyun followed beside her and nodded slightly at Qin Yun. "Captain, did you see a human from the outer universe?" Lei Hui said excitedly when he saw Qin Yun. "Did you capture one?" Qin Yun played the scene of him being besieged and said with a wry smile, "I was almost finished, let alone being caught." The heaven-splitting ancient race knew the strength of the outer universe humans very well. They found it unbelievable that Qin Yun was able to escape from the encirclement of hundreds of outer universe humans. We can now confirm that there are foreign human soldiers in this treasure land. These soldiers are mainly responsible for exploring the underground resources. Soon, our small city will definitely be discovered by them. An old man said in a deep voice, "We must prepare to retreat." Yu Ming frowned and said, "Why are we retreating? Could it be that we can't beat them?" The old man shook his head and said, "It's hard to say. We can beat those soldiers, but if their tribe's regular army or their tribe's experts come out, you little guys will definitely be finished." Grandma Taiyue sighed and said, "That means we have to give up this small city. If we don't give up, what else can we do?" The old man also had a pained expression. The seniors present fell silent. They exchanged glances with one another. There was a large piece of divine universe golden stone under the small city. They couldn't take it away in a short period of time. If they stayed here for a long time and the outer universe humans attacked, even if they could defend it, it would not be worth it. Another old man was silent for a while and said, "Nine Sun Sacred Land is very big. Every clan has a divine universe golden stone mine. If we abandon it, then so be it. But are we just going to leave it to the outer universe humans? I can't accept this." The old man who spoke was from the Yu ancient race. Qin Yun's eyes lit up and said, "Is there a large piece of divine universe golden stone under this small city? I might be able to take it away. My storage divine tool has a very large space. However, I will have to cut that large piece of divine universe golden stone and put it in separate pieces." Yu Shangyun and Yu Yaoyao both know that Qin Yun's storage divine tool is very large and can store small divine Sunday. The divine universe golden stone below is not an ordinary divine universe golden stone. It is very difficult to cut. Qin Yun, if you can help us take it away, we will give you a certain reward. Grandma Taiyue said, "I will give you 100 billion, how about it? This is not a small amount." Grandma Taiyue said. Qin Yun calculated. He obtained 50 billion from the Heaven Secret Sect Master's underground treasury. Adding the scattered divine universe golden stones, he has about 60 billion divine universe golden stones. If he obtained another 100 billion, he would be able to develop the heavenly law Tao orthodoxy's ability to strengthen the soul. I can't guarantee that I can take away that divine universe golden stone. I need to give it a try," Qin Yun said. He also felt that it is very strange. What kind of divine universe golden stone is it? Why can't it be cut? There are many big shots of the heaven-opening ancient clan here. If Qin Yun can take care of this matter, it can be considered as him displaying his strength. In the future, it will be easier to cooperate with them. Moreover, he is helping them now. Even if they don't give him the divine universe golden stone, he will still be willing. Then let's take action immediately. The old man said, "Take care of your family's younger generation and then leave the city. We who are supposed to guard the city will stay here and lift up the divine universe golden stone." Grandma Taiyue said, "Do you want me to stay?" "No need, there will be humans from other universe appearing in the vicinity at any time. Even though they are just small fries, if they don't care about their lives, they can still kill many younger generation." The old man from Yu ancient clan shook his head and said, "In the middle of the night, everyone began to get busy. Yu Guang originally wanted to stay, but he brought a few battle squads with him, so he had no choice but to protect them as they left. There are many experts guarding the city. Those 5 old men are at the 8th or 9th level of Divine Universe Realm. There are also more than 10 7th level Divine Universe Realm and several dozen 6th level Divine Universe Realm. This is a small team formed by several heaven-opening ancient clan. As long as it is not a large-scale attack by humans from other universe, with them here, Qin Yun's safety can be guaranteed. This small city has been built for a period of time. They also have no way to move the huge Divine Universe Golden Stone underground. That is why they built the city. They plan to cut it and move it after thoroughly studying it. Yu Shangyun secretly transmitted her voice and warned Qin Yun to be more careful. Then, she left with Granny Taiyue. The Divine Universe Golden Stone under the small city is very difficult to cut. That is why the heaven-opening ancient clan didn't move it. If Qin Yun succeeds, they won't let humans from other universe take it. Chapter 29-28. If Qin Yun succeeds in transferring it, he will receive a reward. To Qin Yun, this is a very unexpected harvest. After he came in, he obtained many Divine Universe heavenly bones and smoothly obtained the Divine Sun cultivation method. This harvest is already very big. After discussing, 3 of the old men were responsible for going deep underground and lifting up the huge piece of Divine Universe Golden Stone. The others were scattered around the small city to prevent human attacks from the outside world. There will be 2 8th-level Divine Universe Realm old men protecting Qin Yun. Whether or not they can obtain this piece of Divine Universe Golden Stone, Qin Yun is the most important. They must protect Qin Yun. Qin Yun patiently waited outside the small city. At the same time, he asked the 2 old men beside him about the situation of the Divine Universe Golden Stone underground. After understanding, Qin Yun is also very shocked. That piece of Divine Universe Golden Stone is black and over 10,000 meters wide. It is like a 10,000-meter wide island located deep underground. Divine Universe Golden Stone should be golden. Even if it evolved, it should have become Divine Universe Amethyst. A black Divine Universe Golden Stone is indeed very strange. The heaven-opening ancient clan's elders are experienced and knowledgeable, but they can't figure anything out. They only know that this piece of Divine Universe Golden Stone is very sturdy and contains a lot of Divine Universe power, even more than Divine Universe Amethyst. Is it possible that it evolved from Divine Universe Amethyst? Qin Yun asked. Giant Divine Universe Amethyst mainly comes from Divine Universe Purple Sunday. If Divine Universe Golden Stone directly evolved, it would be relatively small. The old man said. What happens after that giant Divine Universe Golden Stone evolves? Is it Divine Universe Golden Stone? Qin Yun already took out the Divine Mirror of Primal Beginning. He planned to let Tai Shi carefully investigate it. Just now, he secretly asked Tai Shi about the Black Divine Universe Golden Stone. Tai Shi did not say that he didn't know, he only said that he had to see it to be sure. Tai Shi clearly knows something. The old man said, Our guess is that after a large piece of Divine Universe Golden Stone was affected by some kind of energy, it turned black and its quality increased by a lot, surpassing Divine Universe Amethyst. If we can figure out the reason, we can make ordinary Divine Universe Golden Stone turn black, and we can obtain even more Divine Universe power from it. Another old man said. This is also the reason why they attached great importance to it. Moreover, many parties joined together to research the secret within. Can you knock out a small piece? Qin Yun wanted to see it now. The old man took out a fist-sized black crystal and handed it to Qin Yun. He said, This is for you. Qin Yun thanked him before receiving it and shining it at the Divine Mirror of Grand Beginning. He also carefully observed the black crystal. After seeing it, He understood why the elders of the heaven-splitting ancient clan suspected that it was formed from the divine universe metal. This was because the black crystal contained a golden divine universe energy, and one could see that the golden energy inside was like an ice crystal. This is divine universe black gold. I didn't expect the 9 Sun sacred ground to have such a large amount of divine universe black gold. Taisher's voice was transmitted into Qin Yun's mind. Old brother Taisher, what is this divine universe black gold? Is it important? Asked Qin Yun. Divine cosmos black gold is not suitable to be refined by the divine king heavenly seal, but the divine cosmos power inside is indeed more than the divine cosmos amethyst. The conditions for the formation of divine cosmos black gold are rather complicated. It is very difficult for them to turn divine cosmos golden stone into divine cosmos black gold, but it is not impossible. Taisher said, this requires the power of the nether sun. Qin Yun found out that the divine king heavenly seal is unable to refine the divine universe black gold and feels that it is somewhat regretful. It is not very useful to you, but it is useful to them. Taisher said again, this kind of thing is very good to use as the energy source for the great formation. At this time, the earth suddenly trembled. The barrier of the small city has already been removed and the formation pillars have been stored away. The ground of the small city suddenly cracked open and many houses collapsed one after another. Following that, weak divine universe energy fluctuation rushed out. Despite being in close contact with such a large piece of divine universe black gold, the fluctuation of divine universe energy is actually so weak. It can be seen that the current divine universe golden stone knows how to restrain their aura, so it is even more difficult to probe it. Qin Yun had asked the 2 elders how they discovered the gigantic piece of divine universe black gold. After they learned of the treasure land's existence, they mobilized many people and used many tools to probe it. The process was not easy, and they spent a total of more than 100 billion divine universe goldstones. This made him understand that exploring the divine universe golden stone mine is very complicated. It is very difficult for him to do it alone, so he needs an experienced team. There are not many such teams in the heaven-opening ancient race. They are existences with extremely high status because they can allow the race to obtain even more resources. After the ground of the small city cracked open, it gradually bulged up. Qin Yun released many heavenly eye clones in the sky. At this moment, he can already see the large piece of divine universe black gold breaking out of the ground. 3 9th-level divine universe realm old men are at the bottom of this large piece of divine universe black gold. They are at 3 different points and then they use their power together to lift this large object. There are humans from other universe approaching. Qin Yun suddenly shouted. His heavenly eye clones in the sky can see a group of humans from other universe flying over at high speed. Over there, it's that group of trash. Qin Yun immediately pointed in a direction and shouted. The old man beside Qin Yun said in deep voice, "Don't worry with us here, nothing will happen. Just leave it to them. Little Qin, quickly try and see if you can take it away or not." Qin Yun immediately tried and urged the 9 Sun Divine Spirit to release spatial power. Then, accompanied by his formidable mental power, it enveloped the small island-like divine universe black gold. "I can, but I need some time." After initial test, Qin Yun confirmed that he can take it away, but it won't be that easy. If it was something like Little Divine Sun, he would be able to take it away very quickly. But this divine universe black gold is different, it will repel other space. If he wants to take it into another space, he must first counteract that kind of repulsive power. This large stone should be releasing very strong space repulsive power. Those small pieces that we knocked out with great difficulty have been tested in storage divine tools. They have very weak repulsive power. The bigger the block, the stronger the repulsive power. One old man nodded and said, "You can rest assured we will protect you." Qin Yun already contacted Little Ant Queen and asked her to release her spatial divine power inside the Nine Sun Divine Spirit to help collect the large piece of Divine Universe Black Gold. Little Ant Queen can directly sense the Divine Universe Black Gold inside the Nine Sun Divine Spirit. Very soon, Little Ant Queen released her formidable spatial divine power and locked onto the large piece of Divine Universe Black Gold. Then she transferred the Divine Universe Black Gold into the Nine Sun Divine Spirit. In just a split second, the Divine Universe Black Gold disappeared without a trace. Success! Qin Yun heaved a sigh of relief. Those few old men are also very pleasantly surprised. They don't have much confidence in Qin Yun, they only let him give it a try. After all, they know that Qin Yun's ability is not small. Seeing that Qin Yun can really collect it, they don't dare to look down on this still-growing divine king. Chapter 29-29. Seniors, are you able to kill those outer space humans? They are just small fries, so they should be easier to kill, right? After Qin Yun took the piece of God Universe Black Gold, his body swayed. He had exhausted a lot of his mental power just now, so he was a little dizzy and dispirited. The old man beside Qin Yun immediately took out a pill and handed it to Qin Yun. After Qin Yun ate it, he could feel that the effect was extremely good and he was gradually recovering. Although they are small fries of the outer space humans, it is not easy for us to kill them. The old man said, "These small fries have God Universe heavenly bones in their bodies, but those God Universe heavenly bones are different from the beasts of the outer space." Qin Yun also wanted to see how strong the God Universe heavenly bones in the outer space humans were. What's the difference? Could it be that it can't be obtained? Qin Yun looked at the battle not far away and asked. Outside, the outer space humans had already attacked, but they were now blocked outside. Their God Universe heavenly bones will self-destruct and will not be obtained. After killing these guys, the God Universe in their bodies will erupt with a very strong destructive power. When the old man saw that the huge piece of God Universe Black Gold was taken away, he decided to immediately retreat and no longer deal with the outer space humans. "Let's retreat!" an old man shouted. Following after that, the three strongest ninth-layer Divine Universe Realm old men released a very strong God Universe power and attacked the group of outer space humans, forcing them to retreat. Although the group of outer space humans were only at the bottom level, their physical bodies were extremely terrifying. Even if they were hit by a ninth-layer Divine Universe Realm expert, their bodies would only be pushed back. Of course, those ninth-layer Divine Universe Realm old men definitely did not use their full strength. If they killed these small fries, the God Universe in their bodies would self-destruct and injure them. Everyone immediately retreated. The outer space humans did not chase, because those outer space humans were very clear that they were not a match for them at all. With a few 8th or 9th layer Divine Universe Realm experts present, if the outer space humans continued to chase, they would definitely be killed in the end. Are there any other resources in this treasure land? Qin Yun followed behind those old men and asked curiously. We weren't able to fully explore the area. The deeper we went, the more dangerous it would be. After we discovered the gigantic, godly cosmic golden stone, we stopped exploring. The old man from the Yu Ancient clan replied. Exploring the mines deep underground required a lot of resources to activate all kinds of exploration formations. They had already used a lot of God cosmic gold stone before. Qin Yun only felt that it was a pity that he could no longer borrow the divine power of the myriad worlds divine Sunday. This made him somewhat unaccustomed to it. Although he had already made preparations before, especially when he knew that the Nine Sun Law Spirit and the Nine Sun Evil Spirit were fighting, he still felt some regret. At dawn, Qin Yun once again took out the God King's heavenly seal but still did not feel anything. It was not like before when he could sense the myriad worlds divine Sunday. Even the 4 divine sons had disappeared. Could it be because the divine sun cultivation method was taken away by someone? Qin Yun thought. He secretly guessed that it was not only him. The great divine king might not be able to obtain the support of the myriad worlds divine Sunday until, as for the 9 sun divine maiden, after he returned, he had to immediately ask Xiao Yuelon and Xiao Yueme. Just as Qin Yun was pondering over this matter, he suddenly felt the auras of the 5 old men near him suddenly increase. They instantly circulated their divine cosmic power, ready to erupt at any time. This means that they sensed danger approaching, triggering their instinctive reaction. Usually, only in a very dangerous situation would this kind of instinctive reaction immediately erupt. Following that, after that, the other 6th and 7th level divine universe realm middle-aged men and old men in the team also sensed something. Too many, he immediately told Qin Yun and said anxiously, "There are outer space humans." Qin Yun's expression changed. He did not expect that the outer space humans would be able to chase so closely. "Is it the regular army of the outer space humans from before?" Qin Yun asked. "It's not. It's another group. They just happened to be nearby. It's a very strong battle group," an old man said in a deep voice. "They're coming over soon." Just as the old man finished speaking, a gust of wind swept over. It is as if a group of people are riding the golden gust of wind. Qin Yun and the others were immediately enveloped by the gust of wind. Boom! Rumble! At that time, the area where Qin Yun was covered by berserk lightning. One after another, huge golden lightning bolts flew about like dragons. The 5 old men immediately joined hands and released a majestic divine cosmic power. It shook the void and scattered all the golden lightning bolts that were attacking him. At this moment, Qin Yun also saw the group of outer space humans. They are wearing dazzling golden armor and holding golden battle sabers. Each and every one of them is majestic and imposing. They look like mighty divine generals, completely different from the group of miscellaneous soldiers from before. Chapter 29:30. When Qin Yun had seen the outer universe humans dressed in beast skin and armor, he had thought that the outer universe humans were relatively backward. But it was only after seeing this group of regular soldiers that he realized that the outer universe humans had a very developed civilization, just like the divine wilderness. The outer universe humans that had suddenly attacked were not the small fries in the treasure land. Qin Yun remembered that the small fries in the treasure land all had a mark between their eyebrows. Now the group of mighty generals that surrounded them also had a mark between their eyebrows, which was different from the small fries. Moreover, the outline of their faces, including the size of their eyes, were very different. They should be 2 different races. Is this the regular army of the outer universe humans? They are very strong and very young. Qin Yun was very surprised. The outer universe humans surrounding them all looked very young. If they dared to attack this team, it meant that they were definitely not afraid of the 5 old men. If this young face was already at the 9th level of the divine space realm, Qin Yun could not see their cultivation because the outer universe humans had protective items that prevented others from prying into their divine space power. What shocked him the most was that their team was basically made up of some old and middle-aged people, and the strongest group were all old people. This team felt a great deal of pressure when facing the foreign enemies, and their expressions were very serious. But the outer universe humans on the other side were all very young. They stood on golden clouds and floated in the air with relaxed expressions. There was contempt in their eyes, as if they did not care about the team led by the 5 old men at all. At this moment, Qin Yun could also feel the strength of the outer universe humans and the gap between them. Outside, the outer universe humans could be said to be full of vitality and possessed great strength at a very young age. But on the side of the heaven-splitting ancient clan, the strongest were the old men, and now they were all relying on them. Outside, although the outer universe humans were relatively small, that was only compared to the entire outer universe. If all the outer universe humans in that universe knew of this passage and rushed in, they would sooner or later break through the 9 sun sacred grounds barrier and sweep through the entire divine wilderness. Qin Yun and the others were still shrouded by the golden clouds, which seemed to be a very brilliant divine technique. He had thought that the outer universe humans only knew how to use brute force, just like the outer universe beastmen. He had finally met the experts of the outer universe humans, and their strength was beyond his imagination. Tut then, the dozens of golden-armored humans from the outer universe roared in unison. Waves of sound waves surged forth, accompanied by the mighty power of the divine universe. The 10 powerful outer universe humans formed a battle group, and the divine space power instantly erupted. It condensed into a huge golden wave in the air, which was hundreds of meters tall, fiercely and shockingly crashing down. The heaven-splitting ancient clansmen suddenly roared and unleashed their divine universe power. The moment the huge wave crashed down, it was also pushed away by an imposing aura. Just now, Qin Yun was repeatedly hit by the powerful divine cosmos power. If not for his body being strong enough, he would have definitely vomited blood. Double the battle began. After the color wave was dispersed, the humans in the outer universe disappeared in an instant. "They are coming!" an old man suddenly shouted. The cosmic humans rushed over from all directions. The ferocious divine cosmos power on their bodies is very frightening. Qin Yun, who is at the center of the group, can feel the dreadful ruthlessness. Facing this round of attack, the experts of the heaven-splitting ancient clan could calmly deal with it, blocking the violent slashes of the humans from the outer universe. Waves of divine universe power collided, causing a series of explosions. The 3 elders of the 9th level of the divine universe realm suddenly flashed out, arriving outside the group, and attacked the humans from the outside. The group of dozens of people from the ancient Heaven clan must have trained frequently. At this moment they were floating in the air, forming a very mysterious formation. When the divine universe power erupted together, the waves of divine universe power could fuse with each other, forming a very powerful defense, and set off waves that shook away the humans from the outer universe. Qin Yun and the other 2 elders of the 8th level of the divine universe realm were all in the middle of the formation. The people of the 7th and 8th level of the divine universe realm in the formation were not idle at this moment. They were all condensing their divine universe power, then taking out crossbows and other similar divine weapons, quickly shooting out crossbow bolt. Qin Yun looked carefully and knew that the arrowheads of the crossbow bolts were fused with the divine universe heavenly bone, making the arrowheads very sharp. Coupled with the powerful divine universe power, they could pierce through extremely strong defenses. Herein an instant, the golden armor on the bodies of several humans from the outer universe was pierced through. The strength of the 3 elders was extremely terrifying. When the 3 of them joined forces, they could fight against more than 10 humans from the outer universe. Moreover, their coordination was very tacit. They must have fought in this kind of battle frequently. Qin Yun also realized that without absolute strength, wandering around the 9-sun Holy Land by himself would only mean death. Only he dared to come like this, so when he wanted to enter the small city, many people were very surprised. How could he go to that place by himself? Qin Yun said in a low voice. He only hated that he wasn't strong enough and couldn't do anything right now. We can defend against them, but it will be very difficult to annihilate them. The old man beside Qin Yun also had a crossbow in his hand. He was aiming at the attacking humans from the outer universe. Some of the outer universe humans had their bodies pierced, but after they pulled out the crossbow bolts, it was as if nothing had happened, as if they hadn't suffered any injuries. "Why didn't you refine the crossbow bolts to explode?" Qin Yun asked. When the crossbow bolts pierced into the body and then exploded, the destructive power would be even greater. The conditions don't allow it. The arrowhead is fused with the divine universe heavenly bone, and the crossbow bolts have to withstand a very strong divine universe force. It is impossible to put anything that can cause a violent explosion inside. The old man shook his head. If we can hit the enemy's vital point, then it will have a very good effect. The outer universe human's vital point was their heart, because that was where the divine universe was located. However, their hearts were protected by very thick armor and were also protected by divine universe force. Their heads were their vital point, but after wearing helmets, it was very difficult to pierce through their head. Moreover, they could use their heads to avoid the crossbow bolt. The mortal bodies of the outer universe humans were originally very strong, but they also had very strong armor protecting their bodies. This made it even more difficult to kill them. In the outerverse had many more beasts. The outer universe humans could kill a large number of these beasts and obtain many divine universe heavenly bones, which could be used to defend themselves. The armor and weapons they wore were all made from divine universe heavenly bones. These fellows are all overflowing with wealth. Qin Yun wanted to do something, but there was nothing he could do. After an hour of bitter fighting, the outer universe humans finally retreated. Many of them had been pierced through, and some had been injured by the three old men. In that the three ninth-level divine universe realm old men had all received varying degrees of injuries in the course of the battle just now. The old man from the Zenith Moon ancient clan had been cut twice, and his arm had been cut off at the shoulder. He was the most heavily injured. Chapter 29:31. The three old men at the ninth level of the divine space realm were so powerful, yet they were still injured. As for the outer realm humans, they seemed to be fine. The humans from the other universe suddenly appeared, casually launched a surprise attack, and then retreated. The heavenly ancient race had to desperately defend in order to block the attacks of the outer realm humans. The difference in strength between the two sides was very obvious. In the Nine-Sun Holy Land, the people the heavenly ancient race wanted to meet the most were the outer realm humans. Although there were many powerful outer realm creatures in the outerverse, because the outerverse was very vast, they could easily avoid the outer realm humans. In the Nine-Sun Holy Land, it was not that easy to avoid the outer realm humans. Once they encountered them, they might be tracked. Let's go. Quickly leave the Nine-Sun Holy Land. An old man quickly dealt with his injuries and shouted. Everyone immediately sped up and flew towards the exit. Qin Yun once again witnessed how terrifying the outer realm humans were. Not only were their divine cosmos power powerful, their physical bodies were also very terrifying. Furthermore, they had all kinds of powerful equipment and resources. It even had a very strong perception and could sense where they were. Outside the outer realm humans could skillfully use the divine universe goldstone to cultivate and use the divine universe heavenly bone to refine all kinds of armor and weapons. In this aspect, the heavenly ancient race was simply inferior to them, especially when it came to obtaining the divine universe goldstone, because the outer realm humans were powerful. The heavenly ancient race simply could not compete with them over the goldstone mines. They did not dare to enter the most resource-rich area of the Nine-Sun Holy Land. This can't go on. Those outer realm humans will continue to enter the Nine-Sun Holy Land. An old man said dejectedly. Can the outer realm humans control the outer realm beasts? Qin Yun asked. Yes, they can tame the outer realm beasts or make the outer realm beasts their soldiers. The powerful outer realm humans are very outstanding in all aspects. The old man sighed. We can only do our best to stop them from entering the divine desolate land and stall for time so that we can become stronger in the divine desolate land. The overall strength of the divine desolate land was too lacking compared to the outer realm humans. Once the outer realm humans entered the divine desolate land, the creatures in the divine desolate land would lose their living space. They could only fly out of the divine desolate land and wander the universe. The divine desolate land was a rare paradise in the universe. Many myriad realms' divine sons could gather the energy of the universe and nurture the divine desolate land, allowing powerful creatures to be born in the divine desolate land. Such as if he lost the divine wilderness, it would be very difficult for him to obtain more cultivation resources in the future when he went to the universe. This was because not every place had an existence like the myriad worlds' divine Sunday. When Qin Yun saw the solemn expressions on the faces of the old men and the other people in the 6th and 7th tier of the divine space realm, he knew that the danger was not over yet. That human legion from the outer universe did not suffer much damage when they retreated, and they looked very young, which meant that their elders were most likely nearby. Qin Wen Yun thought of this, she felt a chill run down her spine. If the elders of the young battle group were to come over, she could imagine what kind of situation they would be in. The 10 youths of the light combat group were able to fight against 3 elders at the 9th level of the divine space realm. The strength of those elders from the outer universe could be imagined. Qin only now did Yun realize how difficult it was for her to obtain the divine sun cultivation technique and return alive. If it were anyone else, without a certain level of strength, they would most likely not be able to escape if they were surrounded and attacked by a group of aliens. Qin at this moment, Yun also felt extremely stifled. He felt an indescribable pressure that caused his entire body to tense up. He had long heard of the 9-sun sacred land. This was his first time here, but he had already witnessed the terror of the humans from the outer universe. As a divine king, he was supposed to protect the divine wilderness, but he did not have the power to do so now. The 9-sun sacred land should belong to the divine wilderness, but now that the creatures from the outer universe were rampaging, there was nothing a divine king like him could do. If in the future, when the humans from the outer universe rushed out of the 9-sun sacred land and invaded the divine wilderness, he would not have enough power to resist. Wouldn't that mean that he could only watch as the divine wilderness was occupied? Qin Yun knew that others did not take him seriously as a divine king. They thought that the so-called divine king was just an empty title left behind by the 9 desolate. Now that it was the divine wilderness, there were no divine kings. No matter what, it was difficult to be acknowledged by others. Even the great divine king from before could not command the divine wilderness. Now, he had become even more mediocre and could only sneak into a heaven-splitting sect to cultivate. No matter how fast the great divine king's cultivation speed was, he was not stronger than the elders of the heaven-splitting ancient clan, so no one would respect him. Along the way, Qin Yun flew carefully with a group of heaven-splitting ancient clan experts in a tense atmosphere. They were flying close to the ground and were not very fast. This was to avoid creating too much energy fluctuations and avoid being sensed by the humans from the outer universe. The humans from the outer universe had very advanced detection methods and could detect them from far away, so they had to be careful. Qin Yun did not release the heavenly eye clone to follow them in the air to avoid being discovered. Outside, the humans of the outer universe were very powerful in all aspects, including their souls. This meant that their mental power was definitely very strong. The heavenly eye clone was a technique that used the mental power of the soul. If one's mental power was strong enough, they would be able to sense the existence of the heavenly eye clone. At night, everyone's nerves were tense. The old man who was the most injured had some color in his face. His injuries were slightly better. The old man who was the most injured looked calmer than the others. Qin Yun had secretly asked the people around him and found out that this old man was an elder of the ancient Qin clan. They all called him Old Qin. Old Qin's eyes were gentle and calm. When he saw Qin Yun looking over, he smiled faintly at him. Qin Yun would look at Old Qin from time to time. Although his surname was Qin and the ancient Qin clan, they had the same surname after all, so he felt a little close. "They're here." Old Qin's voice was very calm. He said indifferently, "I'll go first." After saying that, he immediately flew to the left rear. There was indeed a very strong aura rushing over, colliding with the air, and letting out a burst of whistling sounds. When Qin Yun looked behind him, he saw the golden light and knew that there were humans from the outer universe wearing divine universe heavenly bone armor there. Moreover, they were very strong. "It's their elders," the old man from the ancient Shao clan beside Qin Yun said in a low voice. "Senior Shaoing, is it the group of humans from the outer universe who attacked us before?" Qin Yun asked. Shao Ying was only in the 8th layer of the divine universe realm. He and another old man in the 8th layer of the divine universe realm, Yu Hua of the ancient Yu clan, were mainly responsible for the middle of the battle formation. The other 3 old men in the 9th layer of the divine universe realm came from the ancient heavenly moon clan, the ancient Qin clan and the ancient dragon clan. He was responsible for breaking away from the battle formation and attacking the strongest opponent of the other side. As Qin Yun spoke, the 3 old men in the 9th layer of the divine universe realm had already rushed into the enemy battle formation behind them. Loud sounds continuously erupted from their clan. Chapter 29:32. It's not that group of young outsiders who ambushed us, but their elders. Shao Ying's voice was calm, his eyes filled with grief as he looked ahead. Yu Hua was the same. As for the other middle-aged and old men at the 6th or 7th level of the divine universe realm, they all had sorrowful expressions, and some of them had moist eyes. They didn't stop and continued to fly forward. Qin Yun suddenly understood something. Those 3 9th-level divine firmament realm old men were prepared to sacrifice themselves. They wanted to stop the enemy. There were dozens of 6th or 7th-level divine universe realm people. They all had good aptitudes and would be able to reach the 8th or 9th level of the divine universe realm in the future. The 3 9th-level divine universe realm old men were very clear that if the 3 of them didn't sacrifice themselves, everyone would be finished. Qin Yun looked at Shao Ying beside him, only to see that he was already crying. The 3 old men were Shao Ying's brothers. They had braved through life and death together for many years, experiencing countless dangerous battles. Although they had different surnames, they were as close as brothers. If those 3 old men fell into the hands of the outsiders, they would die. No matter how strong their souls were, they would still be destroyed by the other party. Qin Yun couldn't help but turn to look at the battle behind him. He suddenly understood why old Qin was so calm just now. It was because he had long been prepared to face life and death calmly. Originally, he planned to have a good chat with this old Qin after returning. After all, his surname was also Qin. But now old Qin left just like that. Qin Yun took a deep breath. There was an indescribable feeling in his heart. He could only sigh. He clenched his fists tightly. At this moment, he completely realized how cruel the battle with the outsiders was. Even if they had high positions and were powerful 9th-level divine universe realm experts, they had to make sacrifices at all times. The 3 9th-level divine universe realm old men could definitely escape, but after they left, the entire battle group would be annihilated by that group of outsiders. Qin Yun finally understood why the heaven-splitting ancient clan in the Outerverse was so united. Qin Yun 2 days ago, Yu Chun of the Heaven Moon Ancient Clan and Yang Dehong of the Yang Ancient Clan also wanted the small divine universe divine sun, but they didn't fight. Qin Yun the reason why the heaven-splitting ancient clan could survive in the Outerverse and reproduce so many descendants was because they were united. This was a lesson they learned through blood and tears. Want otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to survive in the Outerverse, and they definitely wouldn't have been able to wait for a passage to open before returning to this universe. From after returning from the Outerverse, the first thing that the heaven-splitting ancients did was to unite the various heaven-splitting ancient clans and establish a heaven-splitting sect. Can they survive? Qin Yun could not help but ask. He felt very uncomfortable in his heart. I don't know, but I should be able to. The one who spoke was Yu Yuhua. He only said that to comfort himself. Qin Yun could see that Yu Yuhua's eyes were already moist, but they did not turn back to look, afraid that they would not be able to hold back and rush to their deaths. God, the three old men at the 9th level of the space realm were extremely terrifying when they fought with their lives on the line. Back there were still loud noises coming from the front, indicating that the battle was not over yet, and the three old men were still alive. However, this was also what made everyone feel the most tormented. The aftermath of the battle let them know that the three old men were still alive. However, they were very clear about the final result. Those three old men would definitely not survive. Is there really no way at all? Qin Yun's voice was filled with sorrow. His eyes were filled with tears as he turned his head to look at the light behind him. He had the urge to go over several times, but he knew that it was useless to do so. We have experienced this kind of thing many times in the Outerverse. We started from the 3rd level of the Divine Universe realm, and until now. Xiaoying sighed. Qin Yun thought of the previous Proud Heaven Battle Squad. When they encountered danger, the strongest would sacrifice themselves to save as many people as possible. This kind of spirit had long been branded in the hearts of the heaven-opening ancient clan members who had returned from the outer space. Xiao Ying and Yu Yuhua only hated themselves for being at the 8th level of the Divine Universe realm, because every time they fell into this kind of situation, the strongest few would stop the strong enemies. They gradually flew away, and the sounds of the battle behind them gradually weakened. They did not know if the three old men were still alive. Qin at this moment, Yun He and the entire battle group's mood was extremely heavy. They could only increase their speed and rush to the exit. If that group of powerful outer space humans caught up, then the three old men would have sacrificed themselves in vain. Qin Yun was very sad in his heart. He held the Taishu Divine Mirror in his hand and secretly conversed with Taishu. Brother Taishu, if I had stored them into the 9 Yang Divine Soul and then escaped by myself, those three old men wouldn't have died, right? You are too naive. That level of outer space humans, their spiritual power is very strong. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to chase us here. Do you think you can escape their pursuit? Taishu said. Can they really discover me while I am invisible? Qin Yun thought about it and felt a lingering fear. If he had encountered those super strong outer space humans at the divine site, he would have definitely been finished. If it was 1 or 2 of them, you should be able to escape, but a large group is impossible. There were at least 10 very strong outer space humans just now, and those 3 old men were also very strong. They were actually able to block them for so long. Taishu said. Qin Yun couldn't help but sigh in his heart again. Right now, he wanted to become stronger. Otherwise, when he entered the 9 Sun Holy Land in the future, he would definitely encounter this kind of thing often. He previously, when he was with the Proud Heaven Battle Squad, Yu Chuanjie, the captain, and the 2 female vice-captains, when they encountered a group of outer space beastmen that they could not defeat, they all made plans to sacrifice themselves and let their team members retreat. Tian, it's bright. Qin Yun and the others had already arrived at the edge of the 9 Sun Holy Land's barrier. Their hearts were still heavy, especially when they thought about those 3 old men. They would never be able to see these divine sons again. When they entered the passage, many powerful elders of the heaven-splitting ancient clan came to greet them. These were the elders who had entered the small city before. When they saw Xiaoying, they said that on their way back, they had encountered scouts from the outer space, which meant that many outer space tribes had already entered the 9 Sun Holy Land. Granny Tai Yu looked at the crowd and saw that everyone's expressions were solemn and sorrowful. In addition, she didn't see those 3 old men, so she was stunned. In the passage, the other elders of the heaven-splitting ancient clan immediately reacted. Everyone couldn't help but close their eyes and mourn. Let's hurry out, their sacrifice was not in vain, we brought back something very important this time. Little Qin said that it's divine cosmic black gold, its quality surpasses divine cosmic purple crystal, and it's very useful to us. Xiaoying said. Duh, everyone was filled with grief as they walked out of the passage together. Although they had experienced this many times in the outerverse, each time was just as painful. Clan M. Chapter 2933. After Qin Yun followed the elders of the heaven-opening ancient clan out, he was teleported to a very mysterious space. He doesn't know where this is, he only knows that this is a space jointly maintained by several heaven-opening ancient clan. This is a very large warehouse, a large amount of divine universe golden stones are stored here. In the vast white space, a large amount of divine universe golden stones are piled up on the ground. From afar it looks like a desert formed by divine universe golden stones. Xiao Qin, take out that huge piece of divine universe black gold, then we will give you 100 billion divine universe golden stones. Xiaoying said. The divine universe black gold that Qin Yun brought back has great research value because this is the first time the heaven-opening ancient clan has discovered a new type of divine universe golden stone. Although they don't know how to use it, at least they won't fall into the hands of humans. Qin Yun took out the huge piece of divine universe black gold. Taisher also can't say how to use it, he only knows that the divine king heavenly seal can't refine it. After he released the divine universe black gold, a few elders used a special kind of huge box to store the boxes of divine universe golden rock from this space. The box will automatically store the divine universe golden stones, a box filled with 1 billion divine universe golden stones. Qin Yun directly took out the divine king heavenly seal and poured the divine universe golden stones into the heavenly seal. 100 boxes in a row, a total of 100 billion divine universe golden stones. After the heavenly law Tao inheritance was devoured by the divine king heavenly seal, that ability was preserved. As long as 100 billion divine universe golden stones, the heavenly law Tao inheritance can evolve a kind of ability that can help people cultivate powerful soul. According to Taisher's guess, in the future, they can cultivate their soul to a very strong level, reaching the level of 9 Sun Law Spirit. The 3 elders had sacrificed themselves in exchange for this huge and mysterious piece of divine universe black gold, which the heaven-splitting ancient race treasured greatly. They would now start to research this piece of divine universe black gold to see if they could use it properly to make them stronger. Qin Yun was also sent back to the Imperial Heaven Gate outside 9 Sun Holy Land. Those who entered 9 Sun Holy Land before all came back one after another. Yu Shangyun and Yu Yaoyao contacted Qin Yun and asked about his situation. They know that the 3 elders sacrificed themselves, but they don't know the specifics. After all, they didn't personally experience it. Qin Yun's heart is filled with grief. He told them what happened at that time and told them that 9 Sun Holy Land is becoming more and more dangerous. They must be careful when they enter in the future. He did not contact Xiao Yuelan and Xiao Yueme, they should still be in the 9 Sun sacred ground. In the past, Qin Yun would definitely feel at ease with Xiao Hong's grandmother around. However, after witnessing the strength of the humans from the outer universe, he was no longer so assured. Although there were not many humans in the outer universe, there were many experts compared to the heaven-splitting ancient race. Furthermore, they were very powerful and had top-notch equipment. Inside the Imperial Heaven Gate, Qin Yun arrived at Yu Yuan's residence. Yu Guang is also here. They also told Qin Yun about their past experiences. Most of them were similar to the sacrifice of the 3 old men. They all survived because someone sacrificed themselves. This kind of thing would become the norm in the future, especially when they were fighting against the outer universe humans. Yu Yuan and Yu Guang were people who had been through this before. They knew very well the impact of experiencing this for the first time. It was also very sad and even despair. Don't be sad. Those seniors have placed their hopes on the younger generation because of the existence of the divine wilderness and the 9-sun sacred ground. More resources means that the younger generation can become stronger faster. Yu Yuan patted Qin Yun's shoulder and said with smile, "Not only the younger generation of the heaven-splitting ancient race, the humans and other races of the divine wilderness should also unite." Yu Guang nodded and said, "When we were in the outerverse, we had to struggle to survive. We had very few resources, so our overall cultivation was inferior to the people from the outer universe. But now it's different. The divine wilderness and the 9-sun sacred ground have a large amount of divine universe goldstones. They can help our younger generation grow faster." The 9-sun sacred ground has even more divine universe goldstones, right? Qin Yun said with frown. The 9-sun sacred ground is the territory of the beings from the outer universe. Now that they have occupied it, their progress must be not small. Yu Yuan faintly smiled. The 9-sun sacred ground is very big. There are indeed a large amount of beings from the outer universe inside. However, we are also not weak. We can obtain divine universe goldstones from them. Yu Yuan had many things to do, so he left in a hurry. Qin Yun rarely met Yu Guang, so he hastily asked Yu Guang about the second layer of the exploding universe divine art and his cultivation experience. After Yu Guang met with sect master Yu Yuan, he learned that Qin Yun's divine universe power has reached a terrifying level after entering the second level of the divine space realm. At first, he was worried that Qin Yun would overuse the exploding universe divine art and injure his body. But later he learned that Qin Yun strengthened all the divine universe golden tendons, so he let Qin Yun continue to use it. Qin Yun and Yu Guang chatted for more than half a day. It was all about the exploding universe divine art. After Yu Guang finished giving pointers to Qin Yun, he went to busy himself. Qin Yun returned to his residence. After returning, he finally contacted Xiao Yuelan and Xiao Yueme. They have come out of the 9-sun sacred ground. As soon as Xiao Yueme came out, she sent Qin Yun many pictures of them. They took many pictures in the 9-sun sacred ground, but they can't send them inside. After they came out, they immediately sent Qin Yun many pictures. From the pictures and videos, Qin Yun can see that they went to the Xiao ancient clan's goldstone mine. Moreover, it is a goldstone mine on the ground. Those goldstone mines are all mountains. The ancient people of the Xiao clan blasted open the mountain and then dug it out bit by bit. They mainly relied on all kinds of giant tools to crush the shattered mountain and sift out the rice grain-sized divine universe goldstones. Their speed was still very fast. So that's how it is. After Qin Yun finished looking at the pictures, he asked, "Yuelan, Yueme, my divine king heavenly seal can no longer establish connection with the myriad realms divine Sunday. What exactly is going on? Is that so? Then it should be the 9-sun law spirit severing its relationship with you," Xiao Yuelan said. "This is something that will happen sooner or later. You should have obtained the final inheritance that the 9-sun law spirit gave you." "I did obtain it. But why did it sever relations with me? Could it be that it doesn't approve of me?" Qin Yun is very doubtful. The 9-sun law spirit's current situation is very complicated. Not only did it sever relations with you, even we can't contact it for the time being. In short, it doesn't want to implicate you," Xiao Yuelan said. "Little husband, don't worry, the 9-sun law spirit is still very stable. Especially at this critical juncture, it won't cause any big trouble and our 9-sun divine maiden won't be in danger." Qin Yun naturally knows that the 9-sun law spirit is fighting with the 9-sun evil spirit, but he didn't expect it to reach this stage. Xiao Yuelan and Xiao Yueme returned to the Xiao heavenly sect and began cultivating. They have a deep understanding of the 9-sun sacred ground. They know that they need very strong power to fight against the creatures of the outer universe. Taishi already used the 100 billion divine universe golden stones to evolve the heavenly law Tao inheritance to the ability to cultivate the soul. After Qin Yun heard this news, he hastily entered the cultivation room to study it. Chapter 2934. In the cultivation room, Qin Yun took out the divine mirror of primal beginning and divine king heavenly seal and sighed. I've finally severed all ties with the myriad realms divine Sunday. Seriously, why didn't it just pass the divine sun cultivation technique to me and let me take the risk? If you can't obtain the divine sun cultivation technique, it means that you don't have enough strength and the Nine Sun Law Spirit will continue its relationship with you. Now, the Nine Sun Law Spirit is abandoning you because it wants to focus on fighting the Nine Sun Evil Spirit. This might not be a bad thing. Qin Yun nodded. It would be great if it could get rid of the Nine Sun Evil Spirit. Then Divine Desolate will be stable for a long time, enough for us to grow and fight against the threat from the outerverse. The heavenly rule's orthodoxy has been devoured by me, and now it has evolved into an ability that can transform your soul into a divine universe. In other words, you can cultivate your soul's divine universe, allowing the 9 souls and 9 spirits to exist within it, and your psyche will transform into psyche force. Like the 9 Sun Law Spirit and the heavenly rule Tao inheritance, these spirit bodies all have soul divine universe. Their mental power belongs to mental universe power. What's the difference between mental universe power? Qin Yun looked at the divine mirror of primal beginning and asked. Mental universe power has stronger penetrating power and perception, but it requires your 9 souls and 9 spirits to be complete to condense mental universe power. If you are missing a part of your soul, you can only use weaker mental power. Taishi said. Anything else? Qin Yun feels that mental universe power has even greater uses. If your mental universe power is strong enough, you can condense divine universe primordial spirit to fly in the sky and burrow into the earth. Your heavenly eye avatar can only use divine universe primordial spirit to fly even further and is even more stable. But this is a matter for the future. You should first cultivate soul divine universe. Do I need divine universe golden stones? Qin Yun curled his lips and said. It is impossible not to consume divine universe golden stones for something with the word divine universe. Of course, if you want to cultivate soul divine universe, you will need about 10 billion divine universe golden stones. Taishi said. Qin Yun still has more than 60 billion divine universe golden stones. He can only put 10 billion into the Divine King Heavenly Seal and place it on his head and begin cultivating Soul Divine Universe. Taishi said, you cultivate the Divine Cosmos in your body. A powerful Divine Cosmos force can make you stronger, but it can't improve your perception. Cultivating the soul is different. Your perception is strong enough, and when combined with the Imperial Heaven Divine Technique, you can calculate one's fortune, observe the terrain, find treasures, or even help others change their fate. Really? I was able to do it before, but later on, I gradually couldn't do it. Qin Yun can't see other people's luck at all. That's because there are many law spirits in this universe. As the Empyrean Divine Desolate and 9 Yang Law Spirits become stronger, the other Law Spirits' mental world force waves become stronger and stronger. That's why there's a lot of interference. Your mental strength is too weak, so you naturally can't do it if it's disturbed, Taishi said logically. Is that so? Why do I feel like you are talking nonsense? Qin Yun looked up. He can feel that the Divine King Heavenly Seal is heating up on his head. Law spirits are all spirits with enormous energy bodies, because a human body is simply unable to bear such a powerful soul and divine universe. Only an extremely powerful energy body can do it. But you are different, so you can cultivate a soul as powerful as a law spirit. Taishi said again. Alright, then to what extent do I have to cultivate to be able to detect the divine universe golden stone mine? Qin Yun really wants to have his own large divine universe golden stone mine. Not only does he want to cultivate the divine universe within his body to increase his divine universe power, he also wants to cultivate the divine universe heavenly bone and mental universe power. This requires a large amount of divine universe golden stone. If he can find a mine, then he will have another source of divine universe golden stone. Qin Yun ate 2 tree eggs before, so he can cultivate at least 2 parts of the divine universe heavenly bone. This definitely requires divine universe golden stone. Without the divine universe heavenly bone, he can't beat the outer universe humans, so he must cultivate it. Old brother Taisher, do you think those 3 old men are still alive? Qin Yun is still thinking about those 3 old men, because without them, he might have been killed by the outer universe humans. I don't know, their souls are very strong. If they can escape, maybe their souls are still floating in the 9-Sun Holy Land. Don't think too much about it now, you don't have enough strength. Next time you enter the 9-Sun Holy Land, you will encounter this kind of thing again, Taisher said. Qin Yun has the Divine King Heavenly Seal above his head. He calmly waited for the soul divine universe to be cultivated. Half a day later, he suddenly felt a refreshing feeling wash over him. His mental nether moon suddenly entered a very open place. Success! Qin Yun opened his eyes and discovered that his perception power has indeed become a bit stronger. Your upper limit of mental universe power is 50, it is still very weak. Taisher said, in the future, you have to earn more divine universe golden stone and increase your mental universe power, only then can you become stronger. After my mental universe power becomes stronger, will I be able to use runes better? Qin Yun suddenly thought of this matter. Of course, if you fuse your mental universe power with your divine universe power and use inscription battle technique, the power will be very strong. Taisher said, I have already mastered the 1-star Imperial Heavenly Talisman. You have just cultivated the soul divine universe, it is a good time. Taisher let Qin Yun look at the mirror. Qin Yun picked up the mirror and looked at his own face. The mirror suddenly flashed and shot out a strong light that entered his eyes, entered his soul divine universe and connected with his 9 souls and 9 spirit. Soon after, a large amount of memories entered his 9 souls and 9 spirit. In just a short period of time, he mastered the runes of the 1-star Imperial Heavenly Talisman. So fast! Qin Yun is wild with joy, he said with smile. Old brother Taisher, can you use this method to transmit runes to others? If they have as many inscription spirits as you, especially the most important Imperial Heaven inscription spirit, as well as Soul Divine Universe, then they should be able to. Taisher said, Qin Yun, even now, you still don't know what it means to cultivate Soul Divine Universe, right? Qin Yun scratched his head and said with smile, what does it mean? I really don't know. You can go ask the Imperial Heaven Sect Master or other elders of the Heaven Opening Ancient Clan, Taisher said. Qin Yun also wants to go out for a walk and understand the price of Divine Universe Heavenly Bone. Just as he was about to go ask Yu Yuan, Yu Song of the Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan sent him a message. Boss Qin, Yu Xieji left the Divine Moon of the Heavens and went to a city. That city is under the control of the Heavenly Court, Yu Song said. Before Qin Yun entered the 9-Sun Holy Land, he looked for Yu Song and asked him to help him keep an eye on Yu Xieji's every move. Can you continue to follow her? Qin Yun immediately replied, I will be there soon. I will follow her, hurry up and come over, I am afraid of being discovered by her. Yu Song is still rather cowardly. Chapter 29:35 Qin Yun went to the 9-Sun Holy Land for a short period of time. Before that, with Qin Yun's help, Yu Song had already awakened the bloodline heavenly rune in his body. Normally, Yu Song would definitely receive better treatment in the ancient Heavenly Moon clan. After his strength increased, he should not be so afraid of Yu Xieji. I'll be there soon. After Qin Yun found out about the city, he teleported to a large city built by the ancient Yu clan through the Imperial Heaven Sect's teleportation formation. From there, he teleported to Yu Song's city called Moon Season City. Moon Season City was a medium-sized city near the Heavenly Court. After Qin Yun arrived, he quickly found Yu Song. Yu Song has indeed improved a lot compared to before. After seeing Qin Yun, his face was full of smiles and he quickly brought Qin Yun to a private room in a hotel. Where's Yu Xieji? Qin Yun asked. I just heard that this Moon Season City belongs to Yu Xieji. This old woman secretly got a lot of resources to build this city. They were all stolen from the ancient Heavenly Moon clan. Yu Song said in a low voice, Boss Qin, you want to make a move here? Qin Yun nodded. Is there a problem? If Yu Xieji is killed and the ancient Heavenly Moon clan finds out that you did it, it will be somewhat troublesome. Yu Song said with a frown. Don't worry, as long as you don't tell anyone, the ancient Heavenly Moon clan will never know that I killed Yu Xieji. Qin Yun said with a smile. You won't tell the ancient Heavenly Moon clan, right? Of course not. Yu Song said with a smile. After Boss Qin helped me awaken the bloodline heavenly rune in my body, my status suddenly rose a lot and I received the clan's attention. You are my great benefactor, I will definitely not harm my benefactor. Qin Yun waved his hand and said, How is the matter I asked you to do before? I have already found more than 200 youngsters of the ancient Heavenly Moon clan. They have all signed a soul contract with me, so this matter can be completely kept secret. When will it start? Yu Song is also somewhat expectant. He also wants to see how many youngsters Qin Yun can help awaken the bloodline heavenly rune. I will choose a time to carry it out. At that time, you can arrange for them to go to the Ling Mansion in the Ling Tian Divine City. I will let Great Elder Ling receive you. Qin Yun said. Mr. Qin, actually, you don't have to sell the disciples of the ancient Sky Moon clan to the Imperial Sky sect. You can sell them to the ancient Sky Moon clan as well. Yu Song took a sip of tea and said, The price is negotiable. After returning from the Nine Sun Sacred Ground, Qin Yun was able to confirm that the upper echelons of the ancient Heavenly Moon clan were not bad. For example, Granny Taiyue. Furthermore, one of the 3 elders who had been sacrificed was from the ancient Heavenly Moon clan. You made contact with the elders of the Heavenly Moon ancient clan? Qin Yun said with a smile. It seems like you are doing quite well. My bloodline Heavenly Rune is not bad. I was chosen by the elders of the ancient Heavenly Moon clan. If possible, I can introduce you to this senior. He is at the 8th level of the Divine Space Realm. Although he is not as strong as Yu Chun, he has quite a bit of authority in the ancient Heavenly Moon clan because he is an inscription master. Yu Song said. What if I go through Granny Taiyue? Qin Yun asked again. It was very easy to go through Granny Taiyue. With Yu Shangyun as the middleman, he could introduce her. Granny Taiyue is quite stingy, especially towards men. It's best if you don't go through her. Yu Song lowered his voice and warned Qin Yun in a very serious manner. Granny Taiyue is famous for being stingy. She is only generous towards girls. She is stingy towards men. All right, when the time comes, I will directly go to Divine Moon to find you. I don't need to go to heaven-reaching Divine City. Qin Yun said, Can you help me raise the price? Try your best to negotiate a high price for me. All right, leave it to me. Yu Song patted his chest and guaranteed. I guarantee that the price will be higher than the Imperial Heaven Sect. As far as I know, the Imperial Heaven Sect Master is also a stingy person. Qin Yun could not help but laugh. Yu Yuan was indeed quite stingy. I will make my move tonight. Yu Xieji should be staying in this city for a period of time, right? Qin Yun stood up and walked to the window. He looked at the street outside. If she makes any movements, I will immediately know. Yu Song took out a large disc and placed it on the table. He said with a smile, "Look, she is still at this position." "How did you locate her?" Qin Yun looked at the spot on the disc. "At this moment, it is motionless, which means that Yu Xieji has not moved. I gave her a little thing. She thought that I wanted to curry favor with her, so she accepted it and brought it with her." Yu Song chuckled. After all, Yu Song was once the clan emperor of the Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan, so he still has his methods. "Oh right, Yu Xieji should be able to obtain a very strong power from Divine Moon, right? Then is it inappropriate for me to make a move at night?" Qin Yun suddenly thought of this question. Indeed, this kind of environment at night is very advantageous for her. Yu Song promptly nodded. She can borrow the power of Divine Moon. After all, she was once a moon's lost spirit. "Then I will make my move now." Qin Yun and Yu Song immediately walked out of the hotel and boarded Yu Song's carriage. Yu Song's carriage drove towards the southwest of the city. Yu Xieji is in a large manor there. On the way, Qin Yun used the Divine Mirror of Origin to investigate the underground situation of the city. Generally speaking, the place where a city is built is not simple and has been carefully selected. This is a pretty good place. Deep underground, there is a relatively dense divine cosmos power surging up. Taisha replied after probing for a bit. "Could it be that there are divine universe golden stones?" Qin Yun hastily asked. "It's not divine universe golden stones. It should be a liquid condensed from divine universe power or a natural formation that can gather the divine power of myriad realms' divine sun from underground," Taisha said. "The city controlled by Yu Xieji is not small. If he could take it down, he would be able to get at least several 100 million or even 1 billion divine universe golden stones every month." The law enforcement realm king and Xian Shazi are respectively in charge of the law enforcement realm and the heavenly mystery sect. They both said that they can give Qin Yun 1 billion divine universe golden stones every month, which is 2 billion. If this city is added, then it would be 3 billion every month. Although it is a bit less, it is better than nothing. Moreover, this is the lowest estimate. Yu Song brought Qin Yun to Yu Xieji's manor. The manor is surrounded by layers of barriers. Even if one is powerful, it would be very difficult to break through. But this is not a problem for Qin Yun. Qin Yun concealed himself inside the carriage and then walked out. He circled around the outer wall of the manor and chose a place where there is no one. He took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal and placed it behind the Divine Mirror of Origin. Through the Divine Mirror of Origin, he carefully tore apart the layers of barriers. After a while, Qin Yun smoothly entered the manor. "Old brother Taisha, can you sense Yu Xieji?" Qin Yun asked. "Yes, she is underground," Taisha immediately replied. Qin Yun directly used the mysterious penetration divine ability and drilled deep into the ground. There is a small underground palace. Qin Yun passed through the thick wall and entered a relatively spacious stone room. He saw Yu Xieji. Chapter 2936. There is a round golden pond inside the stone room. The pond is churning and releasing very dense divine cosmos power. And beside the pond, there are many handsome men with delicate skin and tender flesh. These handsome men have all been stripped naked and are lying on the ground. It looks like they were ravaged before dying. Qin Yun immediately realized that Yu Xieji must be cultivating some evil technique. Yu Xieji is sitting beside the pond. Her aged body is very powerful. She very easily grabbed a dead handsome man and threw him into the pond. What is she doing? Qin Yun is not in a hurry to go over. He cultivated Soul Divine Cosmos. He can use mental power to conceal himself even more deeply. There are more than 10 corpses of handsome men beside the pond. They are all young bodies, full of vigor. They must be very delicious. Yu Xieji looked at the floating corpses and said with evil smile, I will soon have a young body, then I will be able to charm even more handsome men. Maybe I can even tempt Qin Yun. Ha ha ha! Qin Yun suddenly felt somewhat disgusted. He did not expect that Yu Xieji would remember him. If Yu Xieji wanted to kill him, he would feel that it is very normal. But Yu Xieji actually wants to have sex with him. This caused his scalp to go numb. I must quickly deal with her, otherwise I will have nightmares. Qin Yun was framed by Yu Xieji, and almost lost all his standing and reputation. Xian Rujing, Yi Yaoxue and those few beautiful Divine Moon Clan princes almost died. Heaven's Secret Sect master who participated in the plot has already been killed by Qin Yun, and Yu Xieji is completely unaware of it. After enjoying these handsome men, she cruelly killed them and even abused their corpses. If a devil like her matures in the future, she will become a great calamity for Divine Desolate. Yu Xieji, it is time to settle the score. Qin Yun suddenly became ruthless in his heart. He raised his hand and pointed at Yu Xieji. He instantly released heaven-piercing finger power. Divine Cosmos power can burst out 4 times with exploding universe divine technique. Adding heaven-extinguishing 9 fingers, it can increase by several hundred times. Just by using 1000 divine Cosmos power, he can now burst out with more than 4,500. Yu Xieji was at the 3rd level of the divine space realm, but the upper limit of her divine space force was at most 2,000. At that moment she was completely defenseless. She only sensed danger and instinctively dodged. However, Qin Yun's finger force still penetrated her body, creating a hole the size of a washbasin. Qin Yun! Yu Xieji shouted in alarm and anger. Yu Xieji, how have you been? Qin Yun appeared in front of Yu Xieji and used the divine mirror of primordial beginning to shine on her head, preventing her soul from escaping. The divine universe within Yu Xieji's body has already been destroyed by Qin Yun's sky-piercing finger. Her undying and indestructible soul wanted to fly away but was stopped by the primal beginning divine mirror. Yu Xieji didn't expect Qin Yun to suddenly appear. She also didn't expect Qin Yun's power to be so dreadful. When Qin Yun attacked her, he did not even use his weapon. It's time to settle the score, Qin Yun said with sneer. Are you surprised? I know Heavenly Moon ancient clan's Yu Chen. If I die, he won't let you off. Yu Xieji's frightened voice is very loud. Yu Chen seems to have given her a lot of courage. Yu Chen won't know that you died. Your soul is undying and indestructible, right? Qin Yun chuckled and said, I can't completely destroy your soul, but I can capture it. Yu Xieji furiously said, Qin Yun, if you destroy me, you won't have a good death. Once Heavenly Secret Sect Master finds out, he will use Heavenly Law Dao Orthodoxy to make you live a life worse than death. He will soon control Heavenly Law Dao Orthodoxy. Heavenly Secret Sect Master borrowed several billion Divine Universe Golden Stones from you. These Divine Universe Golden Stones were placed in the basement of his building. I already obtained them, Qin Yun said with smile. Hearing this, Yu Xieji's heart suddenly turned cold. Do you want to know the secret of 9 Sun Divine Maiden? Yu Xieji was originally filled with despair, but now her face is filled with proud smile. She said, Qin Yun, the existence of 9 Sun Divine Maiden is related to a great secret. Only I know about it because I heard about it from 9 Sun Law Spirit. Qin Yun just consumed 1,000 Divine Universe power, now he has recovered it through Divine King Heavenly Seal. He can completely destroy Yu Xieji's body and capture her soul at any time. When he heard Yu Xieji mention 9 Sun Divine Maiden, he paused for a moment and did not immediately attack. 9 Sun Divine Maiden is indeed your biggest weakness. Ha ha ha! Yu Xieji saw that Qin Yun did not continue to attack. She proudly laughed and said, That damned girl Tian Shixiang is very clear about this point, but she still couldn't let go of you and didn't sever ties with you. Now it seems that not only Nine Sun Divine Maiden is your weakness, Tian Shixiang is also your weakness. They are not my weakness, they are my spiritual pillar. Qin Yun's voice is very calm. His eyes are unhurriedly looking at Yu Xieji. Yes, yes, yes. Then do you want to know the secret of your spiritual pillar? Yu Xieji seems to have caught hold of Qin Yun's weakness. She is incomparably arrogant. She laughed wildly and said, Quickly take off your clothes, quickly take them off. Don't you want to know their biggest secret? I don't want to. Qin Yun's voice fell. He attacked with exploding heaven finger power. Several thousand divine universe power landed on Yu Xieji's body and completely destroyed her body. The entire manor also collapsed because of this. He immediately released supergravity to support the collapsed rocks, grabbed Yu Xieji's soul and decisively dripped a few drops of soul loss dew. Yu Xieji's violent soul very quickly calmed down. All her memories have been erased and she has lost consciousness. Only a blank soul is left. Don't think of using Nine Sun Divine Maiden to threaten me. Qin Yun snorted and placed Yu Xieji's soul inside the reincarnation gate. Then he came to the ground and used the magic mirror to contact Yu Song. After Yu Song came in, he saw that there is a big hole inside and immediately contacted his people to deal with it. Boss Qin, this city is very good. The monthly income is at least 1 billion. Yu Song said with smile. Take it, no one will know that you are in charge behind the scenes anyway. This city is near the heavenly court. I will take it down as soon as possible. Qin Yun took out the magic mirror and contacted Xian Shazi, asking him to arrange for people to take over this city. Everyone knows that Yu Xieji has a good relationship with the Heavenly Secrets sect. If Xian Shazi arranged for people from the Heavenly Secrets sect to take over, no one would suspect him. Let's go to the divine moon of the heavens and meet the senior behind you. Inside the magic mirror, Qin Yun simply told Xian Shazi that he killed Yu Xieji and told him to take over Yu Xieji's moon season city. Furthermore, he could not be discovered by the great divine lord. Yu Xieji's city has a teleportation formation that leads directly to the divine moon of the heavens. Therefore, Yu Song and Qin Yun quickly teleported from the city to the divine moon of the heavens. Qin Yun once again arrived at the divine moon of the heavens. He could feel that this divine moon of the heavens is very different from before. The divine moon of the heavens is also cultivating, Qin Yun said with emotion. Chapter 29:37. Divine Moon and Myriad Realms. Divine Sun can obtain a lot of energy from the universe. Myriad Realms. Divine Sun has a Divine Sun cultivation method, and Divine Moon definitely has its own cultivation method. The Divine Moon of the heavens has improved a lot compared to before, and its self-defense is even stronger. If there is a day when the Divine Wasteland falls into enemy hands and is attacked by foreign beings, the Divine Moon of the heavens will fly out of the Divine Wasteland and form a powerful defense to ensure that it will not be invaded by foreign beings. Yu Song said. Myriad Realms. Divine Sun should be fine too. Qin Yun sighed. But Divine Desolate is such a good place, we can't just give up like this. Yu Song shook his head and sighed. Myriad Realms. Divine Sun has its own reasons. I heard from the elders of the Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan that if the Nine Suns Law Spirit of Myriad Realms Divine Sun loses to the evil spirit, it will be dangerous. Qin Yun is also very worried about this matter. Myriad Realms Divine Sun and Divine Desolate are closely related. Only in Divine Desolate can one obtain a large amount of Divine Universe metal stones and become stronger faster. If Myriad Realms Divine Sun does not pass through its own tribulation, then many living beings in Divine Desolate will suffer as well. Divine Moon is very large, and it is also very suitable for living beings to live in for a long time. Although Myriad Realms Divine Sun is larger, only a small part of the inner space can be inhabited. Furthermore, most of the areas within the myriad realms' divine sons were occupied by the descendants of the divine sons. The environment on the surface of the myriad realms' divine sons was very harsh. Weaker beings couldn't even land on the surface of the divine sons. Boss Chin, if that day really comes, you can come to Divine Moon. We will definitely welcome you. Yu Song said with smile. We'll talk about it when the time comes. Qin Yun nodded. Yu Song brought Qin Yun to fly on the Divine Moon land. This land was previously occupied by the Divine Moon Alliance, but now it is mainly controlled by the Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan. And the heart of the moon is occupied by the core forces of the Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan. The Divine Moon Clan has obtained the protection of Granny Taiyue and can now return to the heart of the moon. The relationship between the Divine Moon Alliance and the Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan is pretty good. Is that senior not at the heart of the moon? Qin Yun saw that the place Yu Song is flying to is a huge mountain and asked curiously. He is qualified to enter the heart of the moon, but he doesn't like it too much. That's because he can observe the starry sky from the surface of the earth. Yu Song said, although this senior is an inscription master of the ancient Heavenly Moon Clan, he is proficient in star runes. Logically speaking, the moon and the sun are both a type of star, so star runes are even more all-encompassing. Qin Yun nodded and said, this senior specializes in star runes, so his level must be extremely high. I've heard that Senior Yu Lifan is as famous as Shao Qihong in the heaven-splitting ancient clan. Yu Song said in a low voice, Boss Qin, I heard that you're Shao Qihong's half-disciple. Is this true? Qin Yun secretly cursed Yu Yuan's big mouth. He is going around bragging that he is Shao Qihong's half-disciple. This gave him great pressure. Shao Qihong didn't want any disciples at all. To Shao Qihong, as long as he had the Yu family's heavenly talisman, he would be a kindred spirit. No, Senior Shao just saw that I have some talent, so he passed the Yu family's heavenly talisman to me to test my perception. Qin Yun shook his head and smiled. Senior Shao has never accepted a disciple. This is all misinformation. This seems to be what the Imperial Heaven sect master said. Senior Shao Qihong must have acknowledged your level, otherwise he wouldn't have passed the Yu family's heavenly talisman to you. Yu Song is even more respectful towards Qin Yun. The senior Yu Lifan he followed is an inscription master. He learned from Yu Lifan how important Shao Qihong is to the ancient Yu clan. He knows how powerful the Yu family's heavenly talisman is. It can be said that the Yu family's heavenly talisman is very important to the entire heaven-splitting ancient clan. Because when fighting against the powerful outsiders, the Yu family's heavenly talisman can be of great help and can unleash formidable power. How is the relationship between this senior Yu Lifan and senior Shao? Qin Yun asked. He is currently flying in the sky and saw that the mountains ahead are somewhat strange. He can't help but release his heavenly eye avatar to look down from the sky. Their relationship is not bad. The relationship between the inscription masters of the heaven-splitting ancient clan is not bad. From time to time, they will gather together. Yu Song pointed ahead and said, we will be able to reach Senior Lifan's residence very soon. There are several hundred large mountains in front of us forming a great formation. The shortest mountain in the middle of the formation should be the most important formation core. There is a castle on top of the mountain. Is it Senior Lifan's residence? Qin Yun released his heavenly eye avatar earlier and immediately realized that the great formation is very extraordinary. Boss Qin, you are truly awesome. You just arrived and you can already see it. If Senior Lifan didn't tell me, I wouldn't have known that there was a great formation here. Yu Song said with smile. The castle in the middle of the great formation is indeed Yu Lifan's residence. The castle is not very big and it looks rather exquisite. Its style is very classical and it is built from stone and wood. This great formation has not been activated. It seems like it is not a defensive formation. Qin Yun can see that there is a great formation here, but he doesn't know what it is used for. He only knows that this formation is definitely not simple. Yu Song said, I asked Senior Li Fan, but he didn't tell me. He only said that I will know in the future. Qin Yun and Yu Song landed on an open space outside the castle. This is the top of a short mountain. After it has been flattened, there is a relatively spacious platform. After the small and exquisite castle was built on the platform, there is also a relatively spacious small open space. There are many people inside the castle. Qin Yun used the primordial beginning divine mirror to probe. There are several hundred of them. They should be Yu Lifan's disciples. For example, Yu Song has just been accepted by Yu Lifan as a disciple. Qin Yun asked Yu Song earlier why Yu Lifan took a fancy to him. Yu Song himself is not too clear. Yu Lifan still attaches great importance to Yu Song. Qin Yun suspects that Yu Lifan wants to study Yu Song's awakened bloodline heavenly rune. Yu Lifan is an inscription master. He will definitely study bloodline heavenly rune. On the way here, Yu Song contacted Yu Lifan and said that he brought Qin Yun here to discuss something. Yu Lifan has naturally heard of Qin Yun and immediately agreed. Yu Lifan is in a relatively high floor of the castle. There is a spacious living room here. The floor is covered with red carpet and there are many bright light stones hanging from the ceiling. The light stones here are not ordinary light stones. The light they emit is very soft and comfortable. It is clear that they have been meticulously refined. Yu Lifan is a tall, thin and refined old man. He is wearing neat and tidy white clothes. He has light silver hair that reaches his shoulders. His eyes are long and slender. They look like they are squinting. They match very well with the gentle smile on his face, making him look very amiable and happy. How is your study of the Yu Heavenly Talisman? If you want to master something like the Yu Heavenly Talisman, not only do you need perception, you also need opportunity. After Yu Lifan saw Qin Yun, he asked with a bright smile. It looks like he already knew Qin Yun. He is very amiable. Ray Sem. Chapter 2938. Just as Qin Yun was about to salute Yu Lifan waved his hand and said with smile, We inscription masters don't pay much attention to this kind of etiquette. Sit as you please. Senior Lifan, are you very familiar with Senior Shao? After Qin Yun sat down, Yu Lifan personally came over and poured tea for him. I know him very well. Do you know how good our relationship is? Yu Lifan chuckled. Our relationship is so good that this guy wants to take me in as his disciple. Previously, he wanted to pass down the Yu clan's heavenly talisman to me, but I couldn't learn it. If I had learned it, I might have become his disciple. When Yu Song heard this, he said in surprise, Senior Lifan, have you come into contact with the top secret runes of the heavenly talisman of Yu? I wasn't the only one who came into contact with it. Back in the Outerverse, all the inscription masters of the ancient Heaven Opening clan came into contact with it, but we couldn't learn it. Yu Lifan sighed and said, Those runes are truly difficult. They are after all evolved from the most ancient bloodline heavenly runes. Only powerful magic spirits can use them. Only powerful Dharma spirits can use it? Qin Yun was slightly alarmed. The Grand Prime was actually a Dharma spirit. Too, he could learn to master it from the very beginning, but why? Can you use the 9-yang Dharma spirit? Yu Song said doubtfully, Senior Shao Qihong is not a Dharma spirit. How can he grasp it? Li Fan shook his head. Of course Shao Qihong isn't a Dharma spirit. His perception is very high and he has a different understanding of bloodline heavenly runes. This is also his opportunity. Actually, even he himself couldn't explain the difficulty of the Yu clan heavenly talisman. He could only explain the main sequence of the talisman inscriptions. In that case, the talisman markings of the heavenly talisman of Yu should be a type of living talisman markings. As long as one can obtain the acknowledgement of these talisman markings, one will be able to comprehend the profundities within and grasp the essence of the talisman before being able to use it with satisfaction. Qin Yun immediately realized that these runes are not simple. It is possible that when learning them, the runes will develop their own marvelous consciousness. Yes. That's about it. Yu Lifan looked at Qin Yun with a shocked expression and asked, Shao Qin, this means that you comprehended something, right? Qin Yun spread his hands and said with a smile, I just said it casually, I guessed it based on intuition. Yu Song said, the Yu Heavenly Talisman belongs to the ancient Yu clan. Are they really willing to pass it on to outsiders? What a surprise. Yu Song, don't forget that Shao Qihong is from the ancient Shao clan. He's the only one who has the complete heavenly talisman of Yu. Yu Lifan said with smile. The Yu clan's heavenly talisman can be passed on to outsiders, but we have to make sure that it is not in the hands of outsiders. Therefore, we have to be very careful when passing it on. Yun nodded and said, I only obtained the runes of the one-star royal heavenly talisman from Senior Shao. Have you made any progress now? Yu Lifan is very curious because from Qin Yun's words, he can tell that Qin Yun must have gained something. I've only grasped the one-star imperial heavenly talisman. Qin Yun said with somewhat embarrassed smile. I haven't completely mastered all the one-star imperial heavenly talismans. This Shao Qihong imparted the talisman pattern to you. It seems that it hasn't been more than a year, right? You're the only one who has the imperial luck talisman? Yu Lifan was shocked. Is that strange? Before you came back from the Outerverse, there were some inscription masters in the Yu clan who could use the imperial luck heavenly talisman. Qin Yun laughed and said, to him, this is not strange at all. Yu Lifan's squinted slender eyes widened and yelled, it's not the same, it's not the same. This kind of imperial luck heavenly talisman can't block divine cosmos power, it can only be used by people below divine cosmos realm. It is a simplified version of the imperial luck heavenly talisman. Yu Luanhui also said before that this kind of imperial luck heavenly talisman can't block divine cosmos power, so it is not complete. True imperial luck heavenly talisman is very difficult to master, even many inscription masters of the Yu clan can't learn it. Qin Yun frowned. I thought it was more or less the same. More or less, let me put it this way. The runes of the imperial luck heavenly talisman in Shao Qihong's hands are constantly growing and evolving, they are alive. As for the ones left in the ancient Yu clan, they were all copies and couldn't evolve, so they remained at a very low level. Even if they learn it, they are just dead runes. Yu Lifan repeatedly shook his head and said, Month Song is completely dumbfounded, he asked. What kind of rune is dead or alive? How can I be sure? Is the imperial luck heavenly talisman that Boss Qin just mastered alive or dead? If an inscription master's perception is very high, then his runes are alive, otherwise they are dead runes. Yu Lifan looked at Qin Yun and asked, Shao Qin, is it convenient for you to make an imperial luck heavenly talisman now? I just started to understand these runes, I haven't tried to carve them yet. I will try now and see if I can complete one so that Senior can appraise it, Qin Yun said with smile. He has been wanting to give it a try for a long time now. All right, here are the talisman papers, I will bring you to a secret room. Yu Lifan is very excited because after so many years, someone has finally learned how to make a living imperial luck heavenly talisman. Month Song still can't understand. He was the Heavenly Moon Emperor before, so he has a good understanding of Yu clan's heavenly talismans. But now, these heaven-opening ancient race inscription masters, who returned from Outerverse, have mastered imperial luck heavenly talismans that are very different. Monthua Lifan brought Qin Yun to a quiet secret room and said with smile, Yu Song, did you bring Shao Qin here to let me see his imperial luck heavenly talisman? When Song came, He contacted Yu Lifan and said that he brought Qin Yun here to discuss something important. However, he didn't say what it was. It's not about that. Yu Song promptly waved his hand and said, Senior, this is related to my newly awakened bloodline heavenly rune. I can't say it now. After Yu Lifan heard this, he said in amazement, Don't tell me that Shao Qin can help our heaven-opening ancient race awaken bloodline heavenly rune? Song only shook his head. Because he signed a soul contract with Qin Yun, he can't leak this matter out, so he can't say too much. Monthua Lifan can more or less guess what is going on. He also found out that Imperial Heaven Sect suddenly recruited many third-generation bloodline heavenly rune people, and they are all from Ling family. After a bit of investigation, he found out that Qin Yun and Ling family have a very good relationship. It seems like this young divine king from Divine Desolate is quite capable. Yu Lifan sighed and said, He helped us a lot in Nine Sun Holy Land. Is that so? What did Boss Qin do in Nine Sun Holy Land? Yu Song very much wants to know and hastily asked. Yu Lifan after that, Yu Lifan talked about the sacrifice of the 3 old men and the matter of Qin Yun helping to move a huge piece of divine universe black gold. How could a talent like Boss Qin go to such a dangerous place? He should be properly worshipped. Yu Song found it somewhat difficult to understand. Maybe he went to look for opportunities. After all, he is the divine king of Divine Desolate. He has the protection of myriad realms' divine sun. Yu Lifan said. Chapter 2939. Qin Yun is inside the quiet secret room provided by Yu Lifan. He took out the floating cloud divine needle and started carving runes. The runes on the 1-star Imperial Heavenly Talisman were rather complicated. If not for Grand Prime imprinting the runes into Qin Yun's soul, Qin Yun would have needed a very long time to grasp it. Such runes could not be imprinted through the divine mirror of primordial beginning and the godly king heavenly seal because it required the use of Qin Yun's blood soul power. Talisman runes are alive, so Qin Yun needs to directly inscribe talisman runes in order to make the talisman runes full of vitality. Otherwise, they would be dead talisman runes, no different from Yu Luanhui's Imperial Heavenly Talisman. That kind of reversal heavenly talisman was completely unable to withstand the power of the divine universe. Qin Yun let Ling Yuner come out of the 9 Sun Divine Soul and watched him carve runes and chat with him. Qin Yun wanted her to distract him. This way, he could train himself to be able to carve the complicated runes of the Yu clan heavenly talisman even when he was distracted. Shao Yun, little Mo says some strange things from time to time. Will the divine sun cultivation method harm her? Ling Yuner said with some worry. When does she usually say strange things? Qin Yun was concentrating on carving. When he heard what Ling Yuner said, he was suddenly distracted. Fortunately, he immediately stabilized himself. When I was with Yang Yang, she said some very strange words. What's strange is that Yang Yang didn't feel that it was abnormal. Yang Yang seemed to be able to understand what Mo said. Ling Yuner is very puzzled about this. Yang Yang is a Yang soul. Mo obtained the divine Yang cultivation technique. Could it be that little Mo is imparting Yang Yang cultivation techniques? Qin Yun said in alarm. Ah? Can I also cultivate the divine Yang cultivation technique? Ling Yuner suddenly became excited. She said with charming smile. Shao Yun, I used to be Nether Sun's Tao spirit, now I have my own powerful body. Moreover, I also have a small Nether Sun I should be able to cultivate. You can give it a try. When you return to the 9 Sun Divine Soul, ask little Mo and Yang Yang and see what they say. Qin Yun nodded and said. If Ling Yuner had some understanding of the divine sun cultivation technique, she could also pass it to Qin Yun. Taisher had said that although Mo had obtained the divine Yang cultivation technique, Qin Yun was still unable to grasp it. He did not know how he could understand the mystical divine Yang cultivation technique. Xiao Yun, Yueme and Yuelon have already come out from the myriad realms Divine Sunday. Big Sister Yang and the others who are still in the core of the Divine Sun should be coming out soon, right? Ling Yuner muttered. I miss them very much, I want to see them. Qin Yun shook his head. I don't know. Yuelon and the others shouldn't know either. When I asked them before, they all said that it was mainly to look at the 9-sun Dharma spirit or something. Not all the myriad realms' divine suns have come out yet, only 6 have appeared. There are still 3 Sister Kiru, Yu Tian and Yu Shi, I don't know where they are right now, I miss them so much. Ling Yuner faintly sighed. I miss them too, but they definitely have important things to do. The mission that the 9-yang Dharma spirit arranged for them is beneficial to the entire heavens divine desolate. Qin Yun said with a smile. Hasn't it been like this all these years? Half a day later, Qin Yun crafted a driving heavenly talisman. He was able to inscribe complex runes even when he wasn't paying attention. If he was a bit more serious, he might be able to do it even faster. It looks pretty good. I will take it out for Senior Li Fan to take a look. Qin Yun is very satisfied with the Imperial Luck Heavenly Talisman he crafted. What he regretted was that he couldn't use the Divine Mirror of Primordial Beginning and the Godly King Heavenly Seal to quickly imprint it. He could only carve it himself. If he could quickly print out the runes, then he would be able to mass-produce them and sell them at a discount. Soon, he would be able to earn quite a bit of Divine Universe metal stones. Qin Yun walked out of the secret chamber and arrived at the hall. Yu Li Fan and Yu Song were both there. Little Qin, what's wrong? Could it be that the environment was not good enough? Sometimes when you are not in an environment you are familiar with, it will have a great impact on you and you will be unable to calm down. Yu Li Fan saw Qin Yun come out and promptly said, No, the environment here is pretty good. Qin Yun said with smile, then took out the Imperial Movement Heavenly Talisman he just finished carving and handed it over to Yu Li Fan. I made it. Yu Li Fan is somewhat surprised and promptly took the talisman. Qin Yun said that he never tried to make the Imperial Movement Heavenly Talisman before. Generally speaking, the first attempt would most likely fail and the time required would be even longer. After Yu Li Fan took it, he confirmed that this is the talisman paper he provided to Qin Yun. The runes on it have also just been carved. He is an old inscription master. He can tell with a glance that this talisman has just been drawn. He stared blankly at the talisman for a long time, then let out a long sigh and said, Finally someone can comprehend the Imperial Movement Heavenly Talisman. Xiao Qihong will definitely be overjoyed. Senior, I have just mastered the runes of the 1-star Imperial Movement Heavenly Talisman. There are still many kinds of 1-star Imperial Movement Heavenly Talisman. Qin Yun shook his head and said, I don't dare to say that I can master other ones. Don't worry, I will definitely be able to. It is only a matter of time. I will go find Xiao Qihong as soon as possible and tell him about this matter. How about we go together? Yu Li Fan said with smile. I will go after I master more talisman runes. Then I will go get the 2-star Imperial Heavenly Talisman runes. Qin Yun said with smile. Senior Li Fan, how much divine cosmos power can a 1-star Imperial Heavenly Talisman withstand? Yu Song, who was at the side, was also very happy and quickly asked. 1-star Imperial Power Heavenly Talisman can roughly defend against around 3,000 divine cosmos power. Yu Li Fan said. Yu Song was a little disappointed and said, Only about 3,000? The upper limit of the Divine Space Force at the peak of the 3rd tier of the Divine Space Realm is 2,000, and the average person can double that, which is 4,000 Divine Space Force, or even 5,000. This is not enough to block the 3rd tier of the Divine Space Realm. Yu Li Fan shook his head and said with a smile, Yu Song, that is only a theoretical divine cosmos energy attack. The upper limit of your divine cosmos force is 2000, so will you use it all in one go? At most, you can only use 1500. Double eruption is 3000, and even if you triple eruption, your divine cosmic force will reach 4500. If I had a 1-star imperial rotation heavenly talisman on me, then when you use 4500 divine space forces to attack me, then 3000 divine space forces will be transferred to you. As for the remaining 1500 divine space forces, it will be very easy to block. Qin Yun nodded and said with a smile, Yu Song, if you attack someone without any defense and are suddenly reflected with 3000 divine space force, can you block it? Yu Song thought about it and said with a smile, in that case, this imperial power heavenly talisman is really a trick. It seems that even a peak 4th tier divine space realm expert can be tricked if they are not careful. I wonder how many divine cosmos metal it is worth, and how many times can it be used? Qin Yun also wanted to know. He looked at Yu Lifan and asked, Senior, can the 1-star imperial power heavenly talisman be used repeatedly? The runes of the 1-star imperial power heavenly talisman can only absorb 3000 divine space force. First, it needs to be injected with 3000 divine space force, and after it is used up, it can be used repeatedly about 10 times. Yu Lifan said, as for the price, I am not too sure. This kind of talisman is rarely sold, and it is exchanged for favors within the heaven-opening ancient clan. We are buying the high-star imperial power heavenly talisman, so it cannot be used as a reference. Clan. Chapter 2940. 1-star imperial heavenly talisman is very useful, especially for 3rd and 4th level divine space realm experts. If they encounter an alien life form in 9 Sun Holy Land, they can transfer 3000 divine cosmos power to the alien life form at the crucial moment. This can save their life and might even be able to kill them. 3000 divine cosmos power is a very strong attack for 3rd and 4th level divine space realm expert. If they are unprepared, they will be affected if they are hit by it. Qin Yun has an imperial life heavenly talisman in his hand. He suspects that it is a 1-star imperial life heavenly talisman. Is there a kind of imperial life heavenly talisman that can be used repeatedly without limit? Qin Yun asked. The imperial life heavenly talisman he obtained came from a mysterious palace in ancient Desolate. It was originally severely damaged, but he repaired it. Repeated use of talisman runes consumes a lot of energy and will damage them. Only when they are almost used up can they be repaired. Of course, the material of the talisman paper also needs to be very good. It is possible to use it repeatedly, but there are conditions. One must be able to repair talisman runes and the material must be very good. Yu Lifan said, It seems like there is no need to pursue repeated use. The required materials must be very expensive. It is better to use high-quality talisman paper. Yu Song said with smile, Boss Qin, can you take some time to make 2 for me to defend myself? No problem. Qin Yun said with smile. He gave the talisman he just made to Yu Lifan. Yu Lifan recalled the reason why Yu Song brought Qin Yun here and asked, Xiao Qin, how did you help Yu Song awaken his bloodline heavenly rune? His bloodline heavenly rune is different from other heavenly moon ancient clan disciples. What's different? Yu Song also just found out that his bloodline heavenly rune is different from others. It seems like it has evolved. How should I say it? It should be said that it is more youthful and full of vitality. Yu Lifan said. Qin Yun took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal and said, I used the Divine King Heavenly Seal to help awaken, but I can't guarantee that it will work for everyone. Moreover, using the Divine King Heavenly Seal consumes a lot of Divine Universe Goldstones. So it's like this, so you are saying that the Ling family disciples of Imperial Heaven Sect awakened with your help? I heard that there are many people with 3rd-generation bloodline Heavenly Rune, most of them are young. And the middle and old people all have second-generation bloodline heavenly runes. Yu Li Fan exclaimed in admiration while looking at the Divine King heavenly seal. Yu Song has already chosen more than 200 young disciples of the ancient Heavenly Moon clan for me to help with the awakening. Qin Yun said with a smile. If they awaken, I originally planned to introduce them to the Imperial Heaven sect and earn a fee from the sect master. Li Fan laughed and scolded, Little Qin, you actually want to poach someone from the ancient Heavenly Moon clan? And you want to poach the ancient Yu clan's Heavenly Defense Gate? Senior, let Yu Song bring the 200 people he selected over now, I'll give it a try. Qin Yun said. How about this? Send those who can awaken bloodline heavenly runes to the Imperial Heaven Gate. Yu Li Fan's words surprised Qin Yun and Yu Song. Why? Yu Song asked. These people were originally disciples of the ancient Sky Moon clan, but because they didn't have any bloodline heavenly patterns, they were given the cold shoulder. Let if they go to the Imperial Heaven Gate, they will put in more effort to perform well, and let us, the ancient Heavenly Moon clan, look at them in a different light. This is equivalent to motivating them, Yu Li Fan said with a smile. The Imperial Heaven Gate sect master is a miser. If they are sent to him, Boss Qin will earn a lot less. Yu Song curled his lips and said, Don't worry, they will stay in the ancient Sky Moon clan. I will personally urge them to cultivate. Yu Li Fan laughed and said, Then you are treating me as a big fat sheep? I just want to help Boss Qin earn a bit more. Yu Song said because Qin Yun helped him awaken bloodline heavenly runes and gave him a new life. How much is the Imperial Heaven Gate offering? Yu Li Fan is also somewhat curious. 500 million Divine Universe Goldstones for one head. Qin Yun also honestly replied, After all, this is not something that can be concealed. Tell Yuan to give 1 billion, just say that the ancient Sky Moon clan's disciples are different from the masses, their bloodline heavenly runes have evolved, moreover, they have obtained the favor of the heavenly Divine Moon, nurturing them will yield twice the result with half the effort. If they don't want, just say that you want to sell them to the ancient Yang clan or the ancient Shao clan. Yu Li Fan said. Really? Will they not believe it? Qin Yun said with smile. Yuan sect master is not easy to fool. I am not fooling them, I am telling the truth. Their ancient Yu clan will definitely be able to detect it. Later, I will select some more disciples for you to help awaken. I will give you the same reward. Yu Li Fan said. Qin Yun nodded and said, Senior, can this matter be kept a secret? I want to keep a low profile. Alright, no problem. Yu Li Fan said with smile. Yu Song, quickly call your people over, I want to see the process. The people selected by Yu Song are all on the Heavenly Divine Moon, there are more than 200 of them. Very quickly, they have been brought to this castle. Not long after, everyone has arrived, they are all young, there are both men and women. Men and women have been divided into 2 different halls, they have all signed soul contract to not speak of today's matter. Qin Yun put on his mask and then let Yu Song bring people in one by one from a very small secret room. These youngsters don't even know what they are here for. Because Yu Song used to be their Heavenly Moon clan's emperor, they are very reverent towards him. Especially now that Yu Song has awakened bloodline heavenly rune, whatever Yu Song wants them to do, they will do it. Only Qin Yun and the awakened youngsters are inside the secret room. Yu Li Fan is waiting outside. He doesn't really want to see the process, he just wants to see how the 3rd generation bloodline heavenly rune looks like. When Qin Yun helped Ling family people awaken before, only very few people could awaken bloodline heavenly rune, and Ling family is not heaven opening ancient clan. Now he is helping more than 200 youngsters awaken, all of them are from heaven opening ancient clan. The number of people who have awakened successfully shocked him. He helped 10 people to awaken, in the end 3 succeeded and the other 7 also succeeded. They all have bloodline heavenly rune inside their bodies. It is just that they are still in a very young development stage. They need to grow for a period of time before they can awaken. This is what Taisher told Qin Yun. Heaven-opening ancient clan people should have bloodline heavenly rune inheritance inside their bodies, however, they need special methods to awaken it. Those who failed to awaken, their bloodline heavenly rune is like a seed that was awakened by you, it can germinate and awaken again. If it is really like this, doesn't it mean that they all have bloodline heavenly rune? Qin Yun feels very scared just thinking about it. If it is really like this, then given enough time, heaven-opening ancient clan can defeat the outer universe beings. Chapter 2941. Qin Yun busied himself for half a day. He performed the awakening ritual on the 200-plus youths selected by Yu Song. In the end, 35 people succeeded in awakening. It was a very impressive number. As for the other youths who had failed to awaken their bloodline seeds, they would be able to awaken their bloodline seeds in a few more days. The 35 young men and women who had successfully awakened had all signed a soul contract to not speak of what had happened. When they learned that they had awakened their third-generation bloodline heavenly runes, they were very happy. Finally, Qin Yun revealed his identity. He said that he would bring them to the Imperial Heaven Gate and become disciples of the Imperial Heaven Gate. These youngsters all agreed. They are very clear that Qin Yun can help them awaken their bloodline heavenly rune. It means that he has grasped a very formidable ability. Therefore, they are filled with reverence towards Qin Yun. Moreover, they didn't have to pay anything. Joining the Imperial sect wouldn't be a bad thing for them. They, who had third-generation bloodline heavenly patterns, would be treated as treasures no matter which sect they went to. That some youngsters who hadn't awakened their bloodline heavenly patterns were also filled with hope after learning that they could awaken their bloodline heavenly patterns in the future. Qin Yun told them to stay in the ancient Heavenly Moon clan and that he would look for them to awaken after some time. Moonli Fan had examined the 35 young disciples who had awakened their bloodline heavenly patterns and confirmed that their bloodline heavenly patterns were very different from each other. Little Qin, bring them to the Imperial Heaven Gate first. I'll go to the ancient Heavenly Moon clan to pick some people. Yuli Fan chuckled. Moon Song exhorted the youths once again to listen to Qin Yun's arrangements. Qin Wen Yun was in the Mystic Moon. He took out the demon mirror and contacted Yu Yuan, the sect master of the Imperial Sky Gate. He told him that he had gathered 35 people from the ancient Heavenly Moon clan with heavenly patterns. After Yuan heard this, he was extremely happy. Even when he heard Qin Yun say that he wanted to renegotiate the price, he did not complain. Half a day later, Qin Yun and the 35 youths from the ancient Heavenly Moon clan finally arrived at the teleportation hall of the Imperial Gate. Qin Yun let those 35 youngsters follow him and Yu Yuan to the southern area of the Imperial Heaven Gate. There is a very ordinary-looking stone hall here. After entering, Yu Yuan immediately took out a bunch of testing equipment and began to examine the bloodline heavenly runes of the 35 youths. That these youths were very cooperative with Yu Yuan, they also knew that if they joined the Imperial Heaven sect, they would be their sect leader in the future. When Qin Yun contacted Yu Yuan through the Devil Mirror, he said that the third-generation bloodline heavenly runes inside their bodies have matured very well. Therefore, he wants to raise the price. After the Yuan test, he confirmed that Qin Yun was telling the truth. Then, he pulled Qin Yun into a room at the side door of the hall. Lil Qin, I know you have the ability to awaken the heavenly runes in the Heaven Creator clan. You will definitely be rich in the future. Yuan smiled. I'll go straight to the point. 1 billion Divine Universe Goldstones. Qin Yun said with a smile, directly stating the price. Can you reduce it a bit? How about 700 million? Yu Yuan giggled and said, we are so familiar with each other, let's just do it like this. My wife is in the Shao clans, Shao clans, Shao clans, Shao clans, Shao clan. I told her to find Shao Hong's grandmother to inquire about the price. Shao clan should also be lacking third-generation disciples with heavenly rune bloodline. Qin Yun said with smile. Yu Yuan promptly put his hand on Qin Yun's shoulder and said with smile, 1 billion it is. If you can awaken such a good third-generation bloodline heavenly rune, you must need a lot of divine universe goldstones. It is understandable that you want to raise the price. I want ready-made ones, Qin Yun said with smile. This he earned 35 billion in one go. Moreover, there will be even more later on. It will be enough for him to evolve his Divine King Heavenly Seal. Yu Yuan immediately sent people to make arrangements for those youngsters of Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan. Then, he brought Qin Yun to Imperial Heaven Sect's Goldstone branch to get the Divine Universe Goldstones. After Qin Yun obtained the Divine Universe Goldstones, Yu Yuan said that he will secretly select some people from Yu Ancient Clan for him to help them awaken. The price is also 1 billion. Qin Yun very straightforwardly agreed. Then he immediately left Imperial Heaven Sect and went to Divine Moon. He arrived at Yu Lifan's territory and prepared to make another fortune. Yu Lifan has not returned yet. Yu Song is waiting for Qin Yun. Seeing that Qin Yun has returned, he knows that he has already made arrangements for those 35 youngsters of Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan. Qin Yun roughly estimated the Divine Universe Goldstones in his hands. He just obtained 35 billion. In addition to the previous accumulation, he has about 90 billion. He still needs 10 billion to reach 100 billion. At that time, he will be able to evolve his Divine King Heavenly Seal. Every time Qin Yun breaks through a realm, the Divine King Heavenly Seal will evolve once. The previous evolution was to let him use the Divine Universe Goldstones to recover the Divine Universe power. As for the reason, he is not clear. Therefore, he suspects that Taisher is controlling it. Qin Yun feels that there is a need to find a familiar person in every heaven-opening ancient clan. This will allow him to earn a small fortune from every heaven-opening ancient clan. The overall strength of the heaven-opening ancient clan is very strong. They can all obtain large amounts of Divine Universe Goldstones from Nine Sun Sacred Ground or Divine Wilderness. Present to them, Divine Universe Goldstones are not too lacking. What they lack are third-generation people with heavenly patterns. Qin Yun will help them awaken 1 billion. This price can be said to be very worthwhile. Even a stingy old man like Yu Yuan finally agreed to the deal with a smile. After the heaven-opening ancient clan was taken over by the elders, they have been very good. Therefore, Qin Yun wants to maintain a good relationship with them. Helping them awaken is enough for him to earn a small fortune. Why are there so many third-generation people with heavenly patterns? There is no fourth-generation bloodline heavenly pattern? Qin Yun is somewhat puzzled and asked Taisher. That would require 2 third-generation people with heavenly patterns to produce fourth-generation bloodline heavenly pattern. Maybe the Imperial Heaven Gate wants to accept Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan's disciples because they want the Heavenly Moon Ancient Clans and Yu Ancient Clan's bloodline heavenly rune to appear. Divine Moon Clan's Mujin is a third-generation bloodline heavenly rune. The birth of Divine Moon Clan's women are all created by using their Divine Moon Clan's innate ability. Then how can their fourth-generation bloodline heavenly rune appear? Qin Yun is getting more and more curious. I don't know. Divine Moon Clan's reproduction method is very special. It is worth researching, Taisher said. While Qin Yun is pondering this question, Yu Lifan arrived with several dozen youngsters. Shao Qin, let's begin immediately. Yu Lifan is very impatient, he said with smile. I have already made them sign soul contract. Everything has been arranged, we can begin awakening now. Qin Yun nodded and asked, Senior, does your Heavenly Moon Ancient Clan have fourth-generation people with heavenly patterns? Not for now. But with your help, there will surely be more in the future. Even I can evolve to 4th generation. Yu Li Fan is getting more and more excited. Chapter 2942. Yu Li Fan's bloodline heavenly rune should still be 2nd generation. Only a few of them from the older generation could evolve to 3rd generation. As for how to smoothly evolve it, Qin Yun doesn't know. He only knows that it requires the help of a person with 3rd generation bloodline heavenly rune and a bloodline heavenly rune of the same origin. For example, Yu Li Fan's bloodline heavenly rune belongs to the ancient Heavenly Moon clan, so Qin Yun needs someone from the ancient Heavenly Moon clan to awaken their bloodline heavenly runes. Next, Qin Yun began helping the youngsters Yu Li Fan brought awaken their bloodline heavenly runes. Most of the youngsters Yu Li Fan brought were from the Outerverse. If they awakened their bloodline heavenly runes in the Outerverse, they would be flawed. Only awakened bloodline heavenly runes in the Outerverse would be complete and could even evolve. For example, Yu Yaoyao's 3rd generation bloodline heavenly rune was very good. As for why it was so good, perhaps only the elders of the ancient Yu clan knew. Let Qin Yun is surprised that among the youngsters who returned from the Outerverse, there are more who awakened their bloodline heavenly runes. Out of the 50 people, 20 have succeeded. The other 30 have also awakened their bloodline heavenly rune seed. It must be known that out of the 200 people Yu Song brought, only 35 had awakened. Yu Li Fan brought more than 50 people, 20 had awakened. This ratio is much higher than Yu Song's. Why is it like this? Could it be that the bloodline heavenly rune seeds awakened early in the Outerverse? Qin Yun is very curious about this matter. Perhaps it's because of the environment. They were all born in the Outerverse, a world filled with enemies. Thus, the bloodline of their parents or ancestors has been passed down, and because of the influence of the environment, they have become better, Yu Li Fan said. Yu Song sighed and said, without good bloodline and talent, they can't survive in the Outerverse, they are all eliminated. Yu Li Fan gave Qin Yun 20 billion divine universe goldstones and took him to the vault. Munyue Li Fan is an 8th-layer divine space realm inscription master. He also has a lot of divine universe goldstones. After obtaining the 20 billion divine universe goldstones, Qin Yun now has more than 110 billion divine universe goldstones. I want to go back and cultivate. If you need my help to awaken in the future, then contact me. Qin Yun said with smile. Yu Li Fan is also very happy at this moment, because he now has 20 more people with 3rd generation bloodline heavenly marks under him. Moreover, their bloodline heavenly marks are very good ones, they are worth nurturing even more. Shao Qin, don't go to Nine Sun Holy Land. That damned place is getting more and more dangerous. You must remember that you are an inscription master. Yu Li Fan warned repeatedly. Got it. Although Qin Yun said so, he was still thinking about the resources in the Nine Sun Sacred Land. His future cultivation would definitely require even more divine universe metals, otherwise it would be hard for him to break through. When Yun returned to the Imperial Gate, he learned that Yu Yuan had returned to the ancient Yu clan and had secretly picked many youths from the clan, none of whom had awakened any bloodline heavenly patterns. Yu Yuan contacted Qin Yun through the Devil Mirror and told him not to run around recklessly and to wait for his return at the Imperial Gate. Sect Master has picked so many young people from the ancient Yu clan, he definitely won't be able to leave the ancient Yu clan smoothly. He should have picked a few of them. How can those old guys let him go with a bunch of them? Qin Yun shook his head with a smile and returned to his residence. Not long after the Heaven Battle Team and Imperial Sky Battle Team returned, they immediately followed a group of elders and entered the Nine Sun Sacred Land. Qin Yun is an inscription master. He doesn't need to enter the Nine Sun Sacred Land. But others can't, they need to enter to complete missions. In his residence, Qin Yun placed 100 billion Divine Universe Goldstones into the Divine King Heavenly Seal, letting it evolve new abilities. Old brother Taisher, how many Divine Universe Goldstones do I need to cultivate mental power through the Divine King Heavenly Seal? Qin Yun asked. His mental power limit is only 50. He doesn't know what level it is. Spirit Shen Ming Moon has fused with his soul Divine Universe, allowing his mental power limit to be higher. Taisher said that if he didn't have the Spirit Nether Moon, his mental power limit would not be higher than 5. Qin Yun didn't ask about the amount of Divine Universe Goldstones needed to raise his mental power limit. Now that he has 10 billion, he feels that he should be able to raise it by quite a bit. 1 billion Divine Universe Goldstones to raise mental power limit by 1 point. Taisher replied. Qin Yun is immediately scared silly. This. Old brother Taisher, are you sure you didn't make a mistake? 1 billion to raise it by 1 point? Qin Yun's chest immediately felt stuffy. He feels like vomiting blood. If you have some understanding of mental power, you will know that 1 billion to raise it by 1 point is worth it. You don't need to raise it too much now. 50 mental power is not bad for your cultivation, Taisher said. Qin Yun took a deep breath and calmed himself down. He forget it, 1 billion to raise mental power limit by 1 point, then his 50 mental power limit is worth 50 billion. Replenishment isn't too high, 1 million can replenish it by 1 point. Mental power consumption isn't as fast as Divine Universe power. Wait until you understand mental power, then you will understand. Taisher said again. Qin Yun still can't accept that 1 billion Divine Universe Goldstones was needed to raise mental power limit by 1 point. Even if his Divine Universe Goldstones were blown by the wind, they can't withstand this kind of burning method. Then, if I don't use the Divine King Heavenly Seal and use cultivation techniques to cultivate, I should be able to raise it, right? Qin Yun plans to cultivate mental power by himself. Of course you can, but the speed is very slow. At the fastest, you can only raise the upper limit by a few points in a year. But this is the most ideal situation. You can do nothing for a year. For those powerful law spirits who cultivate mental power, being able to raise it by 1 point in a year is already very impressive. Many Dharma spirits take a few years, decades, or even 100 years to raise the upper limit of their mental energy. Grand Prime said again. When Qin Yun heard Taisher say this, he suddenly felt that 1 billion Divine Universe Goldstones to raise mental power by 1 point was quite worth it. After all, it could save a lot of time. The Law Enforcement Realm King, Xian Sha Zi and the others can give me at least 3 billion Divine Universe Goldstones every month, which can raise mental power limit by 3 points. In a year, I can raise it by several dozen points. Qin Yun suddenly felt that earning Divine Universe Goldstones to cultivate is a bit faster. I really don't know what kind of ability the Divine King Heavenly Seal evolved this time is, but it will definitely be very useful, Taisher said. You have to be mentally prepared. Using this formidable ability through the Divine King Heavenly Seal requires Divine Universe Goldstones. Yun sighed and said, I know. This Divine King Heavenly Seal hollows me out again and again. It is truly a bottomless pit. This can make you stronger even faster. You have to know that even if others have a large amount of Divine Universe Goldstones, they can't obtain this kind of channel, Taisher said. Chapter 2943. Qin Yun originally wanted to try increasing the upper limit of his mental power. Now that he knows that he needs so many Divine Universe Golden Stones, he plans to wait until he has more Divine Universe Golden Stones in the future. He has to keep some Divine Universe Golden Stones in his hands for emergencies. For example, if he encounters a rather extreme battle, he can have a large number of Divine Universe Golden Stones to constantly replenish his consumed Divine Universe power. This is very crucial in a battle. As long as he has a steady stream of divine universe power, he can escape from a dangerous situation or turn the tables. Qin did not increase his mental power, but he is now using it to investigate the situation within his body. He obtained 2 tree eggs from Heaven's proud battle squad. After eating them, he discovered that he can indeed cultivate the divine universe heavenly bone. For how he could completely cultivate it, he needed to find out himself. If I eat 2 tree eggs, I should be able to cultivate 2 parts of the divine universe heavenly bone. Qin Yun carefully inspected all the bones in his body. According to the fragmented divine universe heavenly bones he obtained, it should be impossible for him to have a skull. Palms, arms, buttocks, feet, legs, buttocks, back, chest, shoulders, large parts appear the least, mainly palms and soles, small parts are the most common. Qin recalled the divine universe heavenly bones he obtained, they were all fragmented. Only the first one he obtained was relatively large, it was an entire leg bone. Out the leg bone of the outer universe beastman was obtained by eating the tree egg. Qin Yun used his mental power to probe all the bones in his body and discovered that the tree egg's energy is mainly concentrated in his palms. Palms? It's a small part. Qin Yun is somewhat disappointed, but it's better than nothing. Taisher said, "It's not bad for your palms. It can make your finger bones even stronger. Think about it, if you cultivate the divine universe heavenly bone in your palms, then with a powerful grab, the might it will produce will definitely be great." "How do I cultivate it?" Qin Yun asked. "Can I use the God King Heavenly Seal?" "You can use the God King Heavenly Seal to absorb the divine universe golden stone's energy and then release it into your palms," Taisher said. "The God King Heavenly Seal is currently in the process of evolving, it can't be tried yet." Qin Yun said, "Old brother Taisher, after the God King Heavenly Seal evolves, is the ability produced mainly to help me cultivate faster?" "It should be." Qin Yun is very much looking forward to the evolved ability of the Divine King Heavenly Seal. He took out the Divine King Heavenly Seal and held it in his palm, patiently waiting. Even the Grand Prime was uncertain when the evolution would complete. The time required for the evolution was not something the Grand Prime could control. Qin Yun believed that it wouldn't take too long, so he decided to wait. At this moment, the Godly King Heavenly Seal suddenly released a glow. Qin Yun sensed the Godly King Heavenly Seal's activity. She immediately perked up and said with a smile, "Is the evolution complete?" "No." The Divine King Heavenly Seal was injected with some kind of energy. "It's the Myriad Realms' Divine Sun," Taisher said in shock. After Yun heard this, he frowned and said, "The Myriad Realms' Divine Sun is no longer lending its power to me. Now there is suddenly an influx of energy. What's going on?" At that moment, an elder's voice sounded in Qin Yun's mind. It sounded very anxious. "Qin Yun, the 6th Divine Sun is in danger. Hurry over, I need your help." The old man's voice was not only anxious, but also filled with worry. Qin Yun was stunned. He was not familiar with this voice at all, but he could guess who it was. The 9-Yang Dharma spirit actually took the initiative to contact him. Previously, the 9-Yang Dharma spirit had never contacted Qin Yun. After so many years, this is the first time it directly communicated with Qin Yun. "What danger? Didn't you bestow the 6th Divine Sun to the Great Divine Lord and the others?" Qin Yun is somewhat dissatisfied with this matter. "I have no choice in this matter. The Great Divine Lord wants to use his Godly King Heavenly Seal to devour the core of the 6th Divine Sunday. With the 9 Sun Goddess inside, if we don't hurry, she will be in danger," the 9-Yang Dharma spirit said again. After Yun heard the danger mentioned by the 9-Yang Dharma spirit, without saying a word, he immediately took out a very urgent teleportation pearl and instantly teleported outside the 4 Divine Suns. Then, he quickly entered the core of the 4 Divine Suns. For the core of the Divine Sun has you. She has already opened up 3 layers of space in the core. Qin after Yun entered the core area. He took out the Godly King Heavenly Seal and continued to communicate with the 9 Yang Dharma Spirit. 9 Yang Dharma Spirit, can't the other 9 Sun Goddess go help? Qin Yun asked. He wants to teleport to the 6th Divine Sun through the core of the 4 Divine Suns. The 9 Suns Goddess is not a match for the Great Divine Lord, only you can deal with the Great Divine Lord. Of course, you don't need to kill him. You don't have that ability right now, you just need to stall for time, leave the rest to me. The 9 Suns Law Spirit said, Oh right, don't tell the other goddess about the 6th Divine Sun. After Yun contacted you, he did not tell her about the crisis the 6th Divine Sun was facing. Instead, he said that he wanted to make a trip to the 6th Divine Sun and asked you to send him there. Bing Xing was in the core of the 6th Divine Sunday. In the past, whenever a 9 Yang Divine Maiden entered the core of a myriad world's Divine Sun, Qin Yun would go over to take a look. In due to the 6th Divine Sun's uniqueness and the fact that it belonged to the Great Divine Lord, in addition to the problem with the 9 Suns Dharma Spirit, Qin Yun did not enter the 6th Divine Sun's core. He was afraid that he would be harmed by the 9 Suns' evil spirit. He had no choice but to go now. Moreover, he planned to bring Bing Xing out. The 9 Yang Law Spirit only told Qin Yun to hold back the Great Divine King, but Qin Yun did not plan to do so. Such as if he didn't kill the Great God Lord, or if the 9 Suns' evil spirit wasn't suppressed, he wouldn't be at ease. The fact that the Great Divine King used the Divine King Heavenly Seal to devour the 6th Divine Sun means that the 9 Yang Law Spirit is unable to control the situation. You can't directly teleport Qin Yun to the 6th Divine Sunday. She can only teleport him outside the 6th Divine Sunday. The 6th Divine Sun is extremely huge. It is bigger than the other Divine Suns and the energy it releases is naturally the strongest. It is also because of the appearance of the 6th Divine Sun that the other Divine Suns are gradually growing up. Their bodies are gradually approaching the size of the 6th Divine Sunday. Qin Yun is currently outside the 6th Divine Sunday. Within the intense and scorching light rays, he only feels that his entire body is burning hot. It is as if he is being roasted unbearably. Qin Yun told the matter to Tai Shi and asked him to help analyze it. First, find the Great Divine King. The Divine King Heavenly Seal in this guy's hand is a bloodline heavenly runebox. Sealed inside is the real Tai Shi. Tai Shi's voice suddenly became very grave as he said, If this real Tai Shi devours the 6th Divine Sun, he will definitely be able to break through the seal. The Tai Shi in Yun's hand was created by fusing the Great Heaven Bloodline Heavenly Rune and the Great Yin Bloodline Heavenly Rune. It only has a portion of Tai Shi's consciousness. Moreover, it will not betray him and will even help him. Great the Divine King Heavenly Seal in the Divine King's hand is the real Tai Shi. It possesses complete consciousness. The Great Divine King will definitely be affected by that consciousness, which is why his character is like this. There can only be one Tai Shi. The Tai Shi in the Great Divine King's hand shouldn't know of your existence, right? Qin Yun asked. If you really meet him, can you devour him? We can't devour each other, we have to destroy each other, Tai Shi said very solemnly. Chapter 2944. When the 2 Grand Primes met, it was unknown who would devour who. Perhaps they would fuse. Then, the Grand Prime in Qin Yun's Godly Monarch Heaven Seal would definitely not be the present Grand Prime. Grand Prime was a type of Dharma spirit. As long as it was a Dharma spirit, it would have both good and evil sides. Qin Yun guessed that the Grand Prime in his Divine King Heavenly Seal was the good one. Great Divine Lord's Tai Shi was evil. Otherwise, Great Divine Lord would not have done so many evil things. How do I destroy the Great Divine Lord's bloodline heavenly pattern box? Qin Yun is outside the sixth divine sun, searching for the great divine lord. Ninyang Faling told Qin Yun that the great divine king is outside the sixth divine sun, but he did not specify his exact location. Let's go over first. Tai Shi said. First, we have to eliminate the great divine lord. Otherwise, it won't be easy to proceed. Yun's current cultivation was not considered too high, and after the great divine lord entered the Yang ancient clan sect and had the help of the divine king Heaven Seal, his cultivation must have increased by a lot. He did not know if he could defeat the great divine lord. He with the God King Heavenly Seal in hand, he called out to the 9 Yang Dharma spirit. I'm outside the sixth divine Yang. Where is the great God King? Qin Yun was also impatient to eliminate the great divine lord. If he were to continue using the divine king Heavenly Seal, it would endanger the myriad realms' divine sun sooner or later. For example, this time, the great divine lord wanted to use the divine king Heavenly Seal to devour the sixth divine Sunday. This would harm Bing Xing, I don't know, but he's definitely outside the sixth divine sun. 9 Sun Law Spirit said. I only sensed the 9 Sun evil spirit's consciousness and knew that it wanted the great divine king to devour the sixth divine sun. The 9 Suns Law Spirit and the 9 Suns evil spirit were one, so it was normal for them to be able to sense each other's thoughts. This made Qin Yun even more worried. He promptly asked, if you know what the 9 Sun evil spirit is thinking, does it also know what you are thinking? Doesn't that mean that the 9 Suns evil spirit knows that I'm outside the sixth divine sun? Don't worry, it's inferior to me in this aspect. I've long since sealed myself up and protected myself, so it won't know what I'm thinking. Hurry up and find the great divine lord, then use your divine king Heavenly Seal to contact me. The 9 Yang Law Spirit said. Remember, you are not a match for the great divine lord right now. Do not clash with him head-on. Qin Yun secretly despised the 9 Yang Law Spirit. After all this time, he actually did not know where the great divine king was. Did you find out about the great divine lord's cultivation from the 9 Suns evil spirit? Qin Yun asked. The great divine lord is currently at the 3rd level of the divine universe realm, and the upper limit of his divine universe power is also the kind that exceeds the limit, around 3,500. The 9 Yang Law Spirit said, what is the upper limit of your divine universe power? It should only be a little over 1,000. You are no match for him. Generally speaking, the upper limit of the 3rd tier of divine space realm's divine space force was between 1,000 to 2,000. Baiga Divine King was only at the 3rd level of the divine space realm, but he already had an upper limit of 3,500 points of divine space force. This was indeed beyond the limit. Qin Yun was very puzzled. They both had the divine king Heavenly Seal, so why was the great divine king so fast? What made it hard for Qin Yun to accept was that in the past few days, he had obtained a large number of divine universe golden stones, but he had not allowed his cultivation to surpass the great divine king. I will find the great divine king. 9 Yang Law Spirit, you must protect Bing Xing. If anything happens to her, I won't forgive you. Qin Yun snorted. She is my daughter. Even if you don't say it, I will do my best to protect her. The 9 Yang Law Spirit said. Qin Yun did not say anything else. He only felt somewhat astonished. The 9 Yang Divine Maiden was actually like a daughter in the heart of the 9 Yang Law Spirit. He took out the divine mirror of primal beginning and asked sourly, Brother Tai Shi, the great divine king is currently at the 3rd level of the divine universe realm and the upper limit of his divine universe power is 3,500. I'm only 1,200. Your divine universe golden stones are mainly used to increase the power of the divine king Heavenly Seal, as well as to help the heavenly rules Tao orthodoxy evolve the ability to cultivate the soul. Tai Shi immediately replied, In the long run, this will be of great help to you. Qin Yun believed that the large amount of Divine Universe golden stones he obtained was mainly invested in the Divine King Heavenly Seal, which was why his cultivation was not as fast as the great Divine King's. Taisher was naturally aware of the dissatisfaction in Qin Yun's heart and said, "I'm guessing that the great Divine King did not completely strengthen all of his Divine Universe golden veins. His body is far inferior to yours, and he has not cultivated the Soul Divine Universe. If the great Divine King didn't have these, would I be able to defeat him?" Qin Yun also wanted to quickly get rid of the great Divine King and get rid of any future troubles. "You have the star-fixing divine technique, the heavenly pig roar from the Heaven Destroyer, the Imperial Heavenly Talisman, the Imperial Life Heavenly Talisman, and the Myriad Heaven Divine Saber. In addition, you can quickly recover the Divine Universe power. If you are truly certain that the great Divine King did not strengthen the Divine Universe golden veins and did not have the Soul Divine Universe, then you can fight him," Taisher said. The 2 heavenly pig roar talisman crystals that the Heaven Destroyer gave Qin Yun, a single talisman crystal could release the power of 4,000 Divine Universe power. These 2 heavenly pig roars were equivalent to 2 moves with 4,000 Divine Universe power. "I have cultivated the Soul Divine Universe and have 50 mental power. If the great Divine King did not cultivate it, then how much of an advantage would I have in this aspect?" Qin Yun asked again. The Soul Divine Universe was something that he had spent 100 billion Divine Universe metals to create. If it was useless, then he wouldn't even have a place to cry. If the opponent doesn't have a Soul Divine Universe or a powerful divine tool that can defend the soul, then you can use your mental power to interfere with him. If your mental power is very strong, you can even tear apart his 9 souls and 9 spirits in an instant," Taisher said. After Yun heard this, his mood became much better, because according to Taisher, mental power was still rather useful. "Then what can my 50 mental power do?" Qin Yun also did not know what level 50 mental power was. At the very least, it can interfere with him. The premise is that he has not cultivated the Soul Divine Universe and does not have a powerful defense to protect his soul, Taisher said. Qin Yun took the divine mirror of primal beginning and opened his heavenly eye to search for the great Divine King. The 6 divine suns were originally very huge. Looking for a person outside was like looking for a needle in a haystack. This guy, the 9 Yang Law Spirit, did not give me any clues at all. How am I supposed to find the great Divine King? Qin Yun cursed in his heart. The great Divine King should not have used his Divine King Heavenly Seal to devour. If he did, I would be able to sense it. Taisher said, "Be patient, stabilize your mind and prepare for a fierce battle." Yun and Taisher did not plan to leave the great Divine King to the 9 Yang Law Spirit. Who knew if the 9 Yang Law Spirit would let the great Divine King go at that time? Great the appearance of the Divine King and the great Divine King's Divine King Heavenly Seal were all created by the 9 Yang Law Spirit. Qin Yun and Taisher did not completely trust the 9 Yang Law Spirit. 9 The mess of the Holy Sun Sacred Land was also created by the 9 Yang Law Spirit. Now, it could only seal the 9 Sun Sacred Land and not let the foreign creatures come out. This was not a long-term plan. It's begun. The divine mirror of primal beginning suddenly trembled and immediately pointed in a direction. Be careful, the thing in the great Divine King's hand is not simple. It can indeed pose a threat to the 6th Divine Sun. Chapter 2945. Qin Yun also had a godly monarch Heavenly Seal. His godly monarch Heavenly Seal was infused with a grand beginning bloodline heavenly pattern, but it did not have the ability to devour a myriad realms. Divine Sunday inside the great Divine Lord's Divine King Heavenly Seal was the most primitive grand beginning bloodline heavenly pattern box. However, it was in a sealed state. Yet, it could devour 600,000 universe divine suns. This surprised Qin Yun greatly. Could it be that the bloodline heavenly pattern box within the great divine Lord's divine king heavenly seal has been unsealed? Qin Yun did not sense any activity. It had not been unsealed. Perhaps only a small portion of the seal had been unsealed, allowing the power within to be released. If we can successfully devour the sixth divine sun, we will definitely be able to completely unseal it, Taisher said. Qin Yun, no matter what, we must quickly deal with this hidden danger. However, the primordial universe sealed within a true primordial bloodline heavenly pattern box was extremely powerful. It wouldn't be easy to destroy it. Can we really destroy the box? There is a small universe inside. Qin Yun does not believe that he possesses this kind of power. Should I discuss it with the Nine Sun Law Spirit? The Nine Sun Sacred Grounds mess was caused by the Nine Sun Dharma Spirit. If the Nine Yang Dharma Spirit knew how powerful the primal beginning cosmos was, do you think it would destroy it? It might want to control the primal beginning universe, but what if it can't? Taisher said. Let's kill the great divine Lord first, then destroy his divine king heavenly seal, then it will be much easier. Qin Yun was flying towards the great divine Lord. At this moment, he had also begun circulating the divine universe power in his body in preparation for battle. Brother Taisher, there is an energy body in the divine universe in my body. Logically speaking, this should be stronger than the great divine Lord's heavenly cosmos divine sun heart. But I seem to be unable to use my energy body right now. Qin Yun believed that the reason why the great divine Lord was able to grow so quickly was very likely related to the heaven universe divine sun heart. The energy of the energy body is too strong for you to bear, but you can use it to protect your imperial heart. Taisher said, don't be in such a hurry to use the energy body now. You will understand in the future how terrifying the energy body's power is. Qin Yun looked at the divine mirror of Grand Beginning in his hand and secretly suspected that Grand Beginning was hiding a very powerful strength. If not, it would not have helped him seal the energy body and fused it with the divine universe in his body. You are currently approaching the great divine Lord. He should not be able to discover you, but don't think that your sneak attack will definitely succeed. Taisher warned, the great divine Lord has the help of his divine king heavenly seal. He also has the heart of the heaven universe divine sun in his body. He definitely won't be easy to deal with. What Qin Yun was most worried about was the divine king heavenly seal in the great divine Lord's hand. If the primal beginning universe inside really had consciousness, it would definitely be of great help to the great divine Lord. Qin Yun flew amidst the intense light. He is currently very close to the surface of the sixth divine Sunday. The intense light that spewed out caused him to feel a burning pain all over his body. Fortunately, he was able to withstand it. As he got closer and closer to the great divine Lord, he could feel the dense, scorching light mist around him slowly flowing in one direction. In this way, he was even more certain that the great divine Lord had already used the bloodline heavenly pattern box in his hand to devour the surrounding energy. The great divine Lord hasn't started devouring the sixth divine sun yet, or else the commotion would definitely be huge. I suspect that the bloodline heavenly pattern box in the great divine Lord's hands is currently absorbing a large amount of energy, wanting to break through a bit of the seal and then devour the 6,000th world's divine sun. Taisher said. Then how do we devour it? The bloodline heavenly pattern box would grow bigger? Or what? The sixth divine sun is so huge, it definitely won't be easy to devour it, right? Qin Yun thought about it and still felt that it was very difficult. After all, the size of the 6,000th universe divine sun was right there. Furthermore, the energy was enormous and there were other myriad realms divine suns protecting it. He suddenly felt that the nine Yang Law Spirit's worries were unnecessary. Don't underestimate the bloodline heavenly pattern box. Inside the box there is a small universe sealed. It can contain many super divine suns of this level, so devouring the sixth divine sun is not a problem at all. Taisher said, if we really start devouring the sixth divine sun, there will definitely be a process. Qin Yun opened his heavenly eye and could already see the great divine lord in the thick light mist in front of him. In front of the great divine lord, there is a black box floating. The box's surroundings seem to be releasing a powerful energy that fluctuates in space. The light mist in all directions was sucked in by the distorted space. It looked like a very small box, but the box released a very large spatial devouring domain, forming a very large vortex of light that devoured the surrounding energy. Qin Yun used the divine mirror of great beginning to shine it in front of him, letting Taisher take a look. Sure enough, as the box continues to absorb energy, the devouring domain will gradually expand and finally touch the surface of the divine sun. That kind of devouring power can melt the crystals on the surface of the divine sun, Taisher said. Qin Yun's own nether sun also has this kind of ability. When devouring things, it will twist and dissolve them and then devour them. What he didn't expect is that a small box could actually release a huge spatial devouring domain. As long as one entered the spatial devouring domain, they would be transferred into the box. I wonder if the sneak attack will be successful. Qin Yun was previously very confident, but seeing that the great divine lord is in the middle of the devouring domain, it became very difficult. The great divine lord floated in the air. A blue light shot out from his heart towards the black bloodline heavenly pattern box floating in front of him. The box is only the size of a palm and it is octagonal. As the pitch-black box trembled slightly, it would release waves of spatial ripples. That strange spatial ripple would ripple outwards, and at the same time, the spatial ripple would also reverberate inward. It was extremely magical. When rippling, the energy would spread and expand the spatial devouring domain. When it fluctuated inwards, it would absorb a large portion of the energy and then fluctuate out, continuing to expand the spatial devouring domain. Such as in this way, after a period of time, the spatial devouring domain would become very large. It was indeed enough to devour the sixth divine sun. This, furthermore, that bloodline heavenly pattern had not completely broken the seal. If he were to devour the sixth divine sun and break the seal, the other myriad realms' divine suns would definitely suffer a calamity. Qin Yun took out the myriad heaven divine saber and 2 heavenly pig roar talisman crystals. He was prepared to launch a surprise attack and give the great divine lord a fatal blow. Old brother Taisher, can't my divine king heavenly seal help me a little? Qin Yun always felt that the reason why the great divine lord was so difficult to deal with was mainly because the great divine lord had obtained the help of his divine king heavenly seal. As for Qin Yun's divine king heavenly seal, it is no longer possible to obtain the help of the myriad realms' divine sun's power. As for the divine king heavenly seal's own power, it would not be of much use when fighting against powerful enemies. You are different from the great divine lord. He is controlled by the divine king heavenly seal, and you are now able to control the divine king heavenly seal. The divine king heavenly seal truly belongs to you. Taisher said, if you are willing to be enslaved by a powerful law spirit, then you can be like the great divine lord and control a powerful power. Chapter 2946. Qin Yun suddenly came to a realization. The reason why the Nine-Yang Dharma spirit no longer provides him with power is because it knows that he is unable to control it. The Nine-Yang law spirit definitely understood Qin Yun very well. He knew that Qin Yun would not become his subordinate, so he passed down the divine sun cultivation technique. If Qin Yun could find it, it would be his good fortune. The reason why the primordial Lord knew that there would be a divine yang cultivation technique at the miracle descent might be because there was some kind of tacit understanding between the Dharma spirits, or they had communicated with each other before. 9. Although Yang Faling knows that Qin Yun cannot be used by it, it will still help it. Now it really needs Qin Yun's help. The great divine Lord was also nurtured by the 9 Yang Law spirit. It was extremely likely that he was the substitute that the 9 Yang Law spirit had found. However, the great divine Lord seemed to be controlled by the 9 Yang evil spirit. Once you are controlled by the Fa Ling, you will have to pay a huge price if you want to break free from the Fa Ling's control. You will have to return more than half of what the Fa Ling gave you. Tai Shi continued, the 9 Yang Law spirit did not withdraw from your body, which means that it does not want to destroy you, or rather, it does not have the confidence to do so. Qin Yun frowned and said, is that so? What about the 9 Sons Divine Maiden? Will it take it away? I don't know, Tai Shi replied. Qin Yun recalled that before he killed Yuxieji once said that 9 Sun Divine Maiden had a very important secret and planned to use it to threaten Qin Yun. But in the end, she was still killed by Qin Yun. Qin at that time, Yun did not intend to know too much so that he would not be upset. This was because he trusted the 9 Sun Divine Maiden. And now, he thought of many things, especially what the 9 Yang Dharma spirit had said. It viewed the 9 Yang goddess as its daughter, and would not harm them. Don't think too much about it now. Get rid of the great divine Lord and destroy the divine King Heavenly Seal in his hands. Get rid of this scourge first. Tai Shi said. Qin Yun could sense that Grand Prime was in a hurry to get rid of the primordial Grand Prime in the hands of the great divine Lord. Brother Tai Shi, are you afraid of the great divine Lord's primal beginning universe? Qin Yun asked. He knew that Brother Tai Shi had many secrets that he had not revealed. Only one of us can exist. We can't coexist. Right now I'm not sealed, but it is. This is its weakest period and also the best time to destroy it. We can't miss it, Tai Shi said. I can say that you created it, and it's still very weak. After the primordial Tai Shi is unsealed, I'm not your match at all. Alright, I will definitely eliminate that primordial Grand Prime. Qin Yun nodded. Only a single Grand Prime existed. There were only 2 outcomes in the end. One was to destroy one, and the other was to fuse with the other. This Qin Yun and old brother Tai Shi are unable to accept these 2 results. Qin Yun took a deep breath and rehearsed the steps of the attack in his mind. He also told himself that no matter what, he had to destroy the great divine Lord and his Grand Prime. The great divine Lord should be led by the 9 Sons evil spirit, and the great divine Lord had the secret help of the great divine Lord. This meant that the great divine Lord could threaten the existence of the 9 Sons law spirit and the 9 Sons evil spirit. Qin Yun gripped the myriad divine saber tightly and pinched the 2 heavenly pig roar talisman crystals. He made the little ant queen release a powerful spatial divine power. Then, he took a step across the void and passed through the spatial devouring. In an instant, he arrived behind the great divine Lord. After going over, the supergravity was released, enveloping the great divine Lord. At the same time, 2 heavenly pig roars were thrown out. As the gravity pressed down on the great divine Lord, the 2 heavenly pig roars erupted at the same time. A heavenly pig roar's divine universe power exploded out with 4,000 divine universe power. When 2 of them exploded out at the same time, the power was extremely powerful. A loud sound accompanied the violent shockwave. However, just as it shook, the spatial devouring domain produced by the bloodline heavenly pattern box devoured all the energy that exploded out. Although the great divine Lord had suffered quite a bit of impact, he did not seem to be injured. The effect of the heavenly pig roar was very small. This was beyond Qin Yun's expectations. Although he had expected that the bloodline heavenly pattern box would be able to devour it, he did not expect the devouring power to be so terrifying that it could instantly dissolve and absorb such a powerful energy. Big at this moment, the Divine King had the appearance of a handsome young man. In order to cultivate with the young people in the heaven-splitting sect, he had made himself very young. This would also make it easier for him to rope in the young people of the heaven-splitting sect in the future. After Qin Yun's sneak attack failed, he immediately used the void step to leave the spatial devouring domain. In this terrifying spatial devouring domain, he was simply unable to defeat the great Divine King. Big the moment the Divine King was attacked, he knew that Qin Yun had arrived. When he saw Qin Yun fleeing, he hurriedly followed. Qin Yun, you are still the same. You always like to use your weak strength to provoke existences that are stronger than you. The great Divine King's expression was cold and arrogant. He seemed to be very clear about the upper limit of Qin Yun's current divine universe power. His eyes were filled with contempt. The primal beginning divine mirror in Qin Yun's hand suddenly shot out a very strong red light that charged towards the great Divine King. After the great Divine King was hit by the red light, he was not injured, but he still quickly dodged. That the red light was not an offensive power but was used to detect the great Divine King's cultivation. The great Divine King had all sorts of divine artifacts protecting him, so it was impossible to easily investigate the situation within his body. To the intense red beam of light that the primal beginning divine mirror shot out just now had a very strong penetrating power. Even with the protection of the artifact, it could still investigate the situation within the opponent's body. Normally, it would be very rude to use this method, but now that he was facing an enemy, he could use it as he pleased. He has refined 108 divine universe golden tendons, but he has only strengthened 13 of them. I am very sure that he has not cultivated the soul divine universe. In terms of the cultivation of the soul, he is inferior to you. After the Taisher finished investigating, he immediately told Qin Yun. Qin Yun suddenly felt a lot more at ease. The great Divine King had chased after him, but the God King Heavenly Seal did not follow him. The bloodline Heavenly Pattern Box that had transformed into the God King Heavenly Seal was still constantly devouring the surrounding energy to expand the space-devouring domain. The fact that the great Divine King dared to chase after him meant that he was very confident in his own strength. He was not afraid of Qin Yun at all, and even had a very good understanding of Qin Yun's strength. Qin Yun, the upper limit of your divine universe power is only 1200. Although I don't know how you strengthened all of your divine universe golden tendons, with your current strength, you are still far from being my match. The great Divine King had a faint complacent smile on his face. You understand my situation very well. Although Qin Yun had a smile on his face, he felt that something was amiss. It was not a secret that he had strengthened all of his divine universe golden tendons, but the great Divine King knew the upper limit of his divine universe power very well. When he had just broken through, although he had revealed the upper limit of his divine universe power to others, after such a long time had passed, the great Divine King was still very sure of the upper limit of his divine universe power. This meant that the great Divine King had just confirmed it, but Qin Yun did not feel that he had been probed by anyone. Then there was only one possibility. The great Divine King had just found out. Who told him? Qin Yun thought for a moment and felt that something was amiss. He began to suspect the Nine Yang Law spirit. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.